And like that, we're back with another Unpacked presented to you by the To Be Fair Show and
the G Shit Podcast.
All right. Y'all see the title? We back with another good one. Again, we're gonna start it off at Jay-Z, but we can kind of expand this conversation off into just generally speaking, the more successful black people tend to get. They get labels thrown at them. Puppet, you get sellout. There's a conversation about can you climb the ladder, whether that's entertainment, the corporate ladder, without quote unquote selling your soul. We'll dive into it a little bit today, but before we get there, again, we have all the favorites, all the regulars, all the guys are here. Starting off at the top, G, talk to him.
Yo, what's good, everybody? It's G, host of the G Shit Podcast, where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and fuck everything else. Check it out wherever you get your pods. Just search GSHPOD. Hi.
All right, y'all see him back for another one. FBA's own Mr. FBA Trey David Walker, a.k.a. Cash App him, Cash's Trey. What's going on, brother?
What's good? What's good? It's your self-appointed FBA advocate doing my best to represent this delineation movement we got going on and share that perspective. Looking forward to another interesting conversation and interacting with everyone in the chat. What's up to you?
All right. Below him, y'all see it. A Black is gold. Cash App A Black TV. I think he's launching the video brand back. Might have had the most fire of the action figure ones that I've seen. He made his action figure come to life, turned around, started taking pictures. Charlotte's Mayor, talk to him, brother. What's going on?
Yeah, man, that's a little coding experience, man. That's when you actually know what you're doing and not just putting it in the app. But yo, what up, everybody? A Black here, man. Happy to be here. I might gotta dip out early. People got an early flight in the morning, but I'm gonna try to stay as long as I can.
I dig it. You flying out to where? Who done flew you out?
Going to Senegal, man. Going to Senegal.
Uh-oh.
We ain't mad at it.
All
right.
Yeah.
Y'all see it. J-Rock 989 is the Cash App. Johnny P, 1/3 of the To Be Fair Show, the host of the To Be Fair Show. Johnny, what's going on, brother?
What's up to the panel? What's up to the chat? Glad to be here. Looking forward to another fruitful discussion. Looking forward to learning and chopping it up with the guys. Tap in on the chat.
Yes, sir. All right. Again, we've been gone for 2 weeks, but nonetheless, there's not been a lack of news and things happening. One of the bigger stories that have kind of been reverberating across, whether it's been the conservative streets, the liberal streets, the FBA streets, the black streets, has been the Texas streets. We can kind of go down the line. Has been the Karmelo conversation, Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. It was it's a bunch of different ways that you frame it, but an altercation happened at a track meet that ended inside somebody being arrested and somebody losing their life. So I'll play a quick clip. Hopefully this gives like a quick synopsis. This was 6 days ago. This is not pre-screened, so we're going to kind of watch it together. I'll play about a minute of it. Then we'll get into just some initial reactions and thoughts as it comes down to the case.
For Karmelo Anthony will be facing off with Collin County prosecutors. That's going to happen Monday morning in a courtroom. They hope to convince a judge that the 17-year-old who was accused of fatally stabbing another student during a track meet last week is entitled to a reduction of his current $1 million bond. Anthony's lawyers also visited the track where the stabbing happened today, and they did that, they tell us, to help prepare for the hearing. And only our J.D. Miles was there with them.
Attorneys Kim T. Cole and Billy Clark walked through Kirkendall Stadium Thursday, gathering evidence and surveying what last Wednesday morning was a Frisco police crime scene. An altercation between two high school track athletes led to a stabbing. that resulted in one dead and another charged with murder.
We just really want to get in our clients' shoes and see what the environment was like. I know it's a beautiful day today. It wasn't anything like it was on April 2nd, but we want to see what it was, what he was going through, just kind of get an idea of, what he saw, what it looked like.
Anthony's attorneys urge the public to avoid rushing to judgment and assuming their client is guilty.
We're still praying for the family, and we also want to ensure that justice is served equally. So that's what we're hoping for.
Anthony claims he stabbed Austin Metcalf in self-defense. His attorneys say their first priority is getting the 17-year-old who's been in the Collin County Jail for more than a week released on bond.
All right, fellas. With that said, we can kind of give just some general initial reactions. We can go with initial reactions, and pretty much we can evolve that into where we kind of stand with our opinion as it pertains to the case. I know it's been a lot of diversity in thought across the board when it comes to this. We might be all in like one monolithic thought, or I don't know. I'm interested to see. G, talk to us, brother.
I mean, initial reaction was a little interesting because nothing was really solidified. Like, it was like, did this happen? Did this person touch this person first? So we just kept hearing about, the outcome, but there was a little bit of time, in my opinion, until some of the real details came out. And even still to this day, there's debate about what actually led up to the events. And so I think it's just, my initial reaction is just it's sad and unfortunate that a young man, senior in high school, is going through something like this. Like, it's just like very unfortunate. And yeah, like I understand like a lot of the outrage. It reminds me of OJ. Like how like when the OJ case was going on, it was very like black versus white. At that time period, it was like black people were on one side, white people were on the other. And I feel like this is one of those cases because of all those things that have taken place recently with Rittenhouse, Zimmerman, these stand your ground situations where it didn't go in the favor of the black person that was murdered. Because I think, in my opinion, all those cases, those gentlemen got away with murder. I feel like it's one of those things where now it's like it's black people saying it's our turn to get away with one. That's kind of how I'm feeling. Like, it's my initial reaction. It's like it's very racially divided, and black people really just want to see my man get off, similar to how those white folks got off.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Trey.
Yeah, I think first of all, I think it's a tragic situation on both sides. I think one kid lost his life. One kid's life's gonna forever be different, and whether it was self-defense or not, that's a traumatic thing to go through. So just want to put that out there. I feel what G is saying as far as like it's definitely a racial thing, and I think we've seen in cases in the past where the system has been used to exonerate somebody, and I think black people are just looking. We're waiting to see if the system is going to work the same for us when we're in the same situation. I think it's a collective holding our breath, and we're waiting to see if the system is going to actually work for us the way we've seen it work for other people. And I think that's the a lot of the anxiety that's built up behind it is because it's kind of just a wait and see, because the trial gonna have to decide it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Black.
I think if Karmelo stabbed another black boy, this wouldn't even be news right now. So the race factor is definitely a big deal, only because a white kid died. We die, we get shot all the time. And I think that's where you see the lack of empathy from black people, because we always get the short end of the stick when it comes to cases similar like this in recent years. For hundreds of years, we always get the short end of the stick when it comes to justice being served. As more info has come out, I'm starting to lean towards, the self-defense notion. They wasn't on school grounds. So, you can scratch that part out. There seem to be like prior instances with these white boys bullying him or trying him, as they would say in our community. I've seen testimonials from other students, from other people that know them, that said that they approached him, that they jumped him, and he told them, like, this is what's gonna happen if y'all put your hands on me. As far as having a knife on him, I don't think that is that crazy. I mean, I know I carried a pocket knife ever since like I got one in middle school, and it wasn't for like no dastardly reason. Just like, I'm a young boy, you think it's cool. You always just, you got a little pocket knife, a little Swiss Army knife, a little something in your bag, in your pocket, and you just happen to have it on you. So I'm thinking this is gonna be self-defense, especially when you get a bond reduced like that. Even though they want to say, oh, because it's a black judge or whatever, we've seen black judges not take our side before. So, I think he got a case now because he's out on bail, which hardly ever happens, especially for us. But yeah, I hate the kid had to die, and but I do understand the lack of empathy that our community, because we always died, we always getting shot, and like it was mentioned earlier, you got the Zimmermans, you got the Rittenhouses, you got people who donated to Rittenhouse, and I think he went to the White House or he was sitting with a dignitary or something. Like, they big it up. So our lack of empathy is understood. I hope he gets off on self-defense or a minor charge or something. But we do live in America, and we keep having these instances where we're expecting equality, and they remind us that we're not full American. Like I was saying in the group chat about with Trey, is like they don't have to tell us we're not American. They use instances like this to show us that you're not fully American, and we're going to show you right here. You're not going to get the same justice that a white kid would get. If this was reversed and it was said that Karmelo was bullying and attacking the white kid, and the white kid stabbed him, he'd get off on self-defense. We all know, and we all be up in arms, and
he wouldn't even be arrested.
We go on social media and then be on to the next thing. So, I mean, it's a sad case all around, but it's definitely about race at the end of the day.
All right, Trey.
Man, first off, like shout out to New Black Media. This is New Black Media Appreciation Month, and it's also like a major month for the suspected white supremacists too. With Hitler's birthday, a lot of different massacres that went down during this time. So it's an interesting time in April. But a lot of the information, like you said, as it was originally reported, it was very vague. They tried to make it sound as though it was just two people on the track team got into an altercation, when in reality, the New Black Media was saying from the beginning, this guy was under a tent where he was allowed to be. He was on the track team, where these other two guys were not on the track team, where even in the clip he just played, they said between two track players. That's not accurate. These were two people that just went to the school. And I think Carmelo Anthony's like 140 pounds. These twins are both over like 6'2" or something like that, and they're over 200 pounds. So they were messing with the stuff, broke his cell phone. So a lot of this information that paints him more favorably isn't being pushed out, because even like they showed a picture of him with an airsoft gun. Meanwhile, those two twins have pictures. They're hunting, but they have real guns. Like Carmelo has a high GPA, where I don't know what these kids got going on. He comes from both parents, and then the other white kid, everything they like to use against us works against those twins. Even the father had like a sex crime against them too, like in the past. And
the
twins'
guy,
parents, yeah,
the
twins
trying to get in front of something. But go ahead.
And then on top of that, what is some? They had Molly or and meth or something in the toxicology report too.
Is that confirmed though? I've heard that a lot of the things that I've been waiting to have opinions on, because of both sides have had their own different little pieces that they've thrown out there. But I've been trying to wait until things.
We're not gonna know to the trial.
Well, that should be interesting, because if he was intoxicated, like they say Carmelo's not supposed to have a knife. Well, those kids aren't supposed to have drugs on them. They're not supposed to be high. Like maybe he wanted to protect himself from the crackheads. I don't know, like the big bully crackheads. terrorizing people. So another thing I want to big shout out to that our sister, that black female Republican, black woman Republican judge that lowered the bail. That's what we're supposed to do when we have positions like that, instead of just go and attack political opponents and doing the bidding of the dominant society. She actually did something that the dominant society didn't want her to do, that they might not have done without her. So big ups to that Republican female. And another thing is that town has such a small percentage of black people that I can see Karmelo just being tired of these big, giant, corn-fed white dudes going around bullying people. And if you want to have a knife on them for self-defense, I mean, that's valid, you know. Especially, I heard they had said something about a racial slur. If that's true too, they're high, they're using racial slurs, they're not even part of the trap meet, and they approached him, damaged his property, and then he stabbed them one time. Like, if he was trying to kill them, he would have, you know, tried to finish the job. He was trying to neutralize the threat, obviously. So, man, that's pretty much the last thing. I kind of want to push back on. You said black people to get away with one. Like, this is nothing comparable to what white people get away with. Like, he didn't bring a gun across state lines looking for trouble. Like, he didn't go into a school and then, like, when I'm talking about the Dylan Roof situation, he didn't sneak up on somebody who was unarmed and who wasn't touching anybody on the subway and get away with that. So we're not trying to get away with one. We just want justice. And they've been so egregious with what they've got away with that if we can't get away with what the law is actually supposed to be used for, then that's we need to rub everyone's face in that and make a spectacle of the hypocrisy, because, you know, our media will go global. So I don't know, man. I'm surprised Trump hasn't spoken on this, but I guess it's wise of him.
You know why he can't speak on it.
Well, you know what Trump gonna say also.
You know he can't speak on it. He can't go like he can't speak on this.
Well, right. I think that if he speaks on, like,
he had Neely full. He had that Jordan Neely with him.
If he speaks on it, he'll be intentional about being on the side of his base. But I think it just it's a hard stance to take because of, and I guess this leads to the next question, where is it self-defense? Texas, stand your ground state. It does follow a lot of the rhetoric that goes along with the conversations that have went with, i.e. the Kyle Rittenhouses, or, you know, you can go all the way back to the Zimmerman whole little thing, Trayvon, where a lot of the things that they've used in dialogue to justify that applies here, where, you know, not saying Trump has ever been like the most nuanced person, but I just think that it'd be hard to make that appeal across the board and say this person was bad when you kind of like cape for these other scenarios. But actually, saying all that to say, is it self-defense?
Dang. I think, but real quick, if Trump had something negative to say about Karmelo, I think he would have done that already. The reason he's holding back is because he really can't. Like, he would love to. Like, he said something crazy about George Floyd because that was an easier person to target versus like a good student who was really defending himself versus a person that they said had drugs in the system, and they tried to make it about that. So I don't know.
Now, conservative and white media is painting him to be every bit of the villain that they always try and make the black person be.
But you know,
what Trump got to lose speaking on this though? I mean, I don't think it's no issue of him worried about anything. He probably just got his hands full.
Yeah, the thing is, Trump was rising in popularity with what group?
Black people.
Like, what really set him over the top allegedly politically? Like, that really solidified the him winning. It was black men. You speak out against this right here, whatever percent of black men that was voting for Trump, I can almost guarantee you're gonna swing back, pause the other way. Like, that would be my.
I don't know, man, because I've been in the comment section. I've seen a lot of black people that have been on the white side, you know, like, so I don't know.
I haven't seen much of that. Mostly tethers.
I've seen a lot of that. Like, you know, a lot of that type of what did he say? What did
conservatives,
he do?
black conservatives. I've seen some of it. I've seen some of it.
A lot of times, like really, it depends on wherever you're consuming it at. If that's more liberally, and it typically seems like they go self-defense. If it's more conservative leaning, they kind of demonize them in the chat.
What I would say, A Black, is the blacks who you do see with that rhetoric were already 2-time, 3-time Trump support voters. They were already diehard MAGAs. They weren't like the ones who recently voted MAGA for the first time. I can almost guarantee you that. These are like diehard conservative types that I be seeing with that rhetoric. But like I want to share like my perspective as when I was, I think 20, it was before I could drink. I was still in college. So I had to been 19 or 20. I got jury duty. And I actually got selected to sit on a jury. And North Carolina, I think, is a stand your ground state as well. And the case was this Hispanic man, and he had a restraining order to stay away from his baby mama. Now, the baby mama essentially tricked him into coming over by saying, I need you to bring some medicine because the baby's sick, even though she knew she took out restraining order against the nigga. So she like played him to say, hey, I need you to come over, drop off something for the kids. He comes over, drops off something for the kids. It's another drunk dude there. They get into a fight to the point where the dude is trying to, you know, say like, I'm not trying to fight. But as they get into the fight, the dude who's on trial for assault with a deadly weapon, in order to end the thing, he took like a broomstick. He beat the shit out of the other dude to the point where he needed skin grafts to like fix his forearm and some like other part of his body. Right. He fucked him up pretty good. Mm-hmm. And he tried to claim self-defense because he got attacked and et cetera, et cetera. What I learned being on that trial was, because I thought it was fucked up. One, I was like, this nigga should go free just because the baby mama playing games with him. Like, why did she invite him over knowing he got a restraining order? It sounded like he got set up. But the law don't care about that. So what I
know what you're saying. I'm
just saying. Hold on. So what I learned was that the law don't really care about like what led to, like it's so like black and white in terms of did it happen or did it not. And according to the self-defense, the reason why it wasn't self-defense was ultimately because he went above and beyond. He didn't have to beat the shit out of the nigga with the thing to like de-escalate the situation and get away. That's what the argument was. And so when I think about how that like got that dude off in terms of, or the prosecutor won assault with a deadly weapon, I was like, one, I'm never sitting on a jury again because I really hated that experience. And then two, it really made me think about like, damn, okay, if I'm in a situation, like how far can I go if I have to defend myself before it's like assault with a deadly weapon or something like that? And in my opinion, what compromises this case for the young man is saying, hit me and see what happens. Those words are the key to this whole thing to me. If this is true that he, quote unquote, said something along the lines of, do this and see what happens, that to me makes this a very tough thing to argue for self-defense. That's just my opinion.
You wouldn't look at that as a literal warning to not do something,
right?
It seems like you're
and that's not how. I don't think from my understanding sitting in that courtroom, what you're saying isn't how self-defense is like interpreted in the law.
So just giving like one of the scenarios that I've heard. Like the guy grabs him and he gets him off of me, say, touch me or touch me again and see what happens. Like, again, you touch me, fair warning, and then you touch me / and or punch me or grab me. It's been a bunch of different versions of what they said the next thing would be, where you gave a warning and then a person aggressed you. That I guess I'm trying
to there's self-defense and then there's going above and beyond. So like let's say we out and about right now I'll walk up to a nigga and just smack the shit out of him. Wow.
Okay.
If he shoots me because I smacked the shit out of him, he can claim self-defense.
He'll probably get off on it.
I don't know. But
like
see,
the baby got off on that in like Walmart.
This is why the shit is so
the
crazy.
baby would have got off if it was a white person, though.
This is why the shit is so crazy. It can be
again, like
so many different ways.
A little bit more into like the dynamics, but if we're just talking about pure like self-defense, we've seen niggas get off for less, I guess.
I think what G's talking about is like that nuance of like when a person is like no longer a threat, that gray area, like they can claim it's not self-defense. So like, all right, if Karmelo's getting jumped by these two guys and he stabs the dude once and it's enough to kind of disable him, but he continues to the point of killing him, they can argue that like, all right, you stabbed him and he was down, but then you kept going, you know, that could be murder. So
and like, I agree with that. And that's where like in your case, he kept going and you kept beating him until you needed skin grafts and shit like that.
Yeah, that's different.
Correct. I'm not saying it's the same, but what I'm saying is that phrase of hit me and see what happens is to me the trickiest part of this whole thing. That's my honest take on it, because
that's one of the like things that work in his favor, in my opinion, because he gives him a fair warning. But going just to exactly what you were saying though, and what A Black was kind of responding with. In this scenario, he did stab him once and ran off. And then upon getting arrested, asked if he was good and asked if it was self-defense. So it was like at best, it was like a reactionary thing. Again, like you could paint the picture. It's raining outside. You got these multiple big, tall linebackers that's standing over you. We don't even have to bring race into it. That are threatening you. It sounds like they did throw his phone. Broke the phone.
Apparently, from the witness, they jumped him and they were
that makes it even worse.
And he grabbed on his bag and got the knife, and got one of them, and then the other one got snapped out of it. Like, oh shit! Like, and he ran off. You know, so he was getting jumped. Like,
okay. And they said they got multiple videos. So as soon as the video drop,
I have not seen a video. I have not seen it actually go down. But the thing that I've heard. That to me is where it makes it tough on a lawyer. Now, that said, I think it's rightful that they lowered the bond because he didn't murder the kid. Like, I don't think it's murder either. Like, I don't think if you're looking at the extremes of if he's guilty of anything, what is he guilty of? I don't think it's murder at all. You see what I'm saying? So, but to get off on that self-defense, I think like I said earlier, like that Rittenhouse, the Aubrey case, the Zimmerman case, I think those men murdered those other individuals, in my opinion. I don't think that was self-defense or stand your ground in any three of those cases. But somehow, some lawyer got that argument off. Now, why is it that sometimes these things be so clear? It's like, how did they not go one way and how did it go the other? I don't know. But I think for this young black man in the state of Texas, where there's clearly like the odds are not in your favor, I think that piece of it will be the thing in court that ultimately might not go in his favor.
But I think one thing that's important, Texas is a stand your ground state. And so that means there's no requirement to escalate or to like de-escalate or try to retreat before you use force. You're allowed by law, the moment you perceive a threat, and it doesn't have to be a threat to kill, it could just be seriously bodily harm. You're allowed to react and protect yourself.
I think that's what you're saying though, Johnny, though.
Stand your ground part. When he says hit me again and see what happens, he doesn't have to retreat. He's perceiving a threat and he's allowed to hold his ground. It's that thing, but I think stand your ground is very important in a case like that, because in other states you may be required to, try to de-escalate first. In Texas, you don't have to. If somebody does something to you, you're allowed to respond immediately with whatever force you deem is necessary to stop the threat.
Yeah, you are right, but there is a line where if you respond with quote unquote more force than what was provided to you, you could go to jail for something. Now, you're gonna live and die by the jury, but but what I'm saying is that it's not as clear cut as what you're saying, because if it were, this wouldn't even be a case. You see what I'm saying? Like, if it were as clear cut as what you just said, he should be free to go. No,
of course. I mean,
it's clear cut. It's purely
and other people should be in jail. Like, I mean, this is about what it should. We know why he's in jail. It's not because it's not a good case, or it's just because Texas is Texas.
Like, imagine if this was like an all-black school, and then Karmelo was a white dude, and then two big linebackers came up to him, and he was little, and he did like he wouldn't be on trial. So I think part of what we're trying to do here in the grassroots, and everyone is a part of that and joining with us, is we're trying to make them be accountable to the laws and demand our equal protection under that law. And if we don't stand up for this, we will not get it. So that's why it's important for us to all get on code.
Gotcha. And I guess one last thing before we move on that I did want to, I guess, point out, because I know that I've heard different times and different conversations, like the whole idea of like, if it was a black person, it wouldn't, like, we wouldn't care this much, and like the whole black on black, you know, like escalation of it. I will say that the first people that I seen running with this story was conservative white media. This was like a full week before Trey was probably the second person. It was kind of along the time that quote unquote grassroots had started picking it up and became a thing. But about a full week before then, because like I even had to tell him, like, I got to sit and actually look at the information of it, because I've only heard it inside like an earshot from a conservative viewpoint, in which they painted it like a very specific way. But yeah, but like they were pushing it for about a week before black people even picked it up and or cared about it. Just like I said, just a nuance to kind of put out there.
So they made it about race first, basically, because the black kid did that, and they want to make it seem like, black violence.
That I did see pushing the racial aspect to it.
So the black people making it about
what kind, like they was running down this. This is about, like, I guess it's close to 3 weeks ago now, but like right around when it first happened. I was watching just what was it? Maybe it was a Patrick Bet David little podcast thing that they be having, and they just brought it up, and I was like, oh shit, this is interesting. But yeah.
So by making it about race, we're kind of just responding to them already making it about race.
Yeah. Like, so before we move on, I guess a really quick what would you go?
The modern OJ.
Let me see how I can put this inside like the most respectful way. Verdict. Again, we all believe that textbook, it should be self-defense. Will America do right? Will it be a verdict in favor of Karmelo or against him? I don't really got to go into too much explanation, but in favor, yay or nay? G.
Without seeing the footage, the evidence, and everything, just based off of what I feel like will happen to the young man, I feel like his attorney's gonna have a tough job, man, unfortunately. So right now, I don't think it's in his favor.
So nay. Trey.
I think with some support we can get this right. I think it's gonna, like G was saying, it's gonna have a lot to do with his lawyer. Like Johnny Cochran could have knocked this out easy, but we don't have a Johnny Cochran anymore, unfortunately. We don't have the competent legal representation that we should have based on our situation in America. So, and that
could work to their advantage, like it did for Thug. Like maybe Frisco dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? And it's like prosecution don't raise. Maybe they not up to par and they dropped the ball. So it could work out on both sides.
Thug lawyer just went to Diddy case.
Oh yeah, he did.
He's covering Diddy. Oh man, that's a shame. We gotta go to the white man to get the best legal representation, but I guess it is what it is. That's something we
got to go to your favorite group to get the best of the best.
Benjamin Crump in the college. I ain't seen Benjamin Crump. I ain't seen Benjamin Crump really win no case yet.
He wins settlements. He gets paid, but
A Black, yay or nay? Will the verdict be in his favor? if you're guesstimating right now?
I'm gonna be positive and say, yeah, man. If there is videos of this happening, I think that's going to be the deal breaker. I feel like the judge must have already seen something to even, lower that bond. So, like I said, that's a positive note when that bond get lowered for a case like this for us. So I'm gonna stay positive, and I think he go get off.
Johnny.
Yeah, kind of like what A Black was saying. I think what's happening with the bond is a positive sign. It's a black judge. It has national media attention now, which I think is real good for holding people accountable. If it was just a regular case and nobody, I think it'd be a lot different. But I think the fact that we are talking about it is a positive sign. So I'm gonna say yay.
Gotcha. All right. Got 1 to 2 more icebreakers, just depending on how these go. This is another meme that got sent into the chat. It'll kind of throw to a bit of a couple conversations that I know the guys want to get into from the chat. I'll push play on it and we can talk about it.
Area of activity. We're childlike. Economics. We're childlike. Education. We're childlike. Entertainment. We're childlike. Politics. Religion. Why? Because we come under the authority of Big Mama and Big Daddy, who are the white supremacists of this world. Why? Because children are dependent on grown people. The white supremacists are the grown people of this planet.
Okay.
In the system of white supremacy, and the victims of white supremacy, black people, brown people, red people, are the children.
Okay.
The illegitimate children.
All right. Are black people the children of white folk? Is the white woman Big Mama? What are y'all thoughts?
First off, RIP to the GOAT. He's one of the most respected people in these FBA circles. We talk about him all the time. He just passed about a month ago.
Okay.
But y'all already know how I feel. Maybe I should go last.
I guess we can start with G.
Hold on, man. I need to. Can you just summarize why we calling the white woman Big Mama for me? Because I saw the clip, but just like I want to make sure I understand why this is being asked.
You talking to me?
Or who says that we are?
Said, well, he said that Big Mama, and I forget what he called the white man. But yeah, generally speaking, are we the children of white folk?
I don't agree with that.
Or are we childlike under their authority?
Or are we childlike?
No, because I think we too much of a threat, and they're working too hard to keep us down to refer to us as childlike. I think there's certain things I think they're holding. There's obviously things working against us, but to say childlike, I think they're too afraid, and I think there's reasons they put the systems in place, and it's not because they look at us as like inferior. I definitely don't believe that. If anything, they look at us as superior, and they put these things in place to protect their spot. So I wouldn't say childlike.
A Black.
I don't know if I would use that terminology. If anything, you more the adopted child or stepchild, if you got to use that, because
he said illegitimate child. To be specific.
Okay, I didn't hear that part. So yeah, that makes sense, because it's like a lot of us are asking and constantly begging for validation, acceptance still in white spaces. Trying to be like white women or white men, but none of this is by design too. So it's not like I can fault us fully, but I do get the concept, kind of being in this bubble of America, if they are. You say what?
I think he said the world stage.
You can take it out because they've colonized the world too. So we see it in Africa, we see it in South America, we see it in India. That's what we talking about with white supremacy and white domination is they set these systems in place as many places they can. In the places that they haven't been able to set it, maybe it's China or certain places like that, you see them at odds with. But everywhere else, they've been able to kind of lay that groundwork for domination of people trying to strive to be them or be like them or get things from them. In the countries that don't really need them, they make them their enemy. So, I mean, I get the concept, but I would like to hear more of it. Like I said, it's a reason why it's like that around the world. We all know the reasons why, but yeah, it's true.
G, talk to us.
Muted.
Can't hear you.
Man, I'm not no illegitimate child, like of a white woman. Like, what is we talking about, man? Like, I mean, look, man, I get what A Black saying, but like, I don't think as a whole, like, there are, like, don't get me wrong, there are, plenty of blacks that are trying to assimilate to white Eurocentric cultures and everything, but like, I don't think nobody, like, I don't think as a culture it's like on some, like parental vibes. Like, I don't really get the metaphor personally. That's just nah. Like it says, like, it's just too adversarial of a relationship. Like, it's just been too much intention to keep us down, to do so much to us. It's like it's not even like, don't water down the reality of how bad the relationship is by talking about an illegitimate child. Like, no, we not illegitimate children of these motherfuckers in any way.
And I guess, well, just making sure. So you saying Karen is not Big Mama?
Not mine.
Okay. But no, I guess, like, if just to throw in a quick tidbit,
Karen don't season the food enough to be Big Mama.
Dry, unseasoned chicken.
Ankles ain't big enough.
Oh Lord.
See, I wouldn't try to go there. I wouldn't try to go there, Trey. I wouldn't try to go there, Trey. I wouldn't try to go there.
No tricep.
Right.
You want to talk about the lunch lady arms?
Yeah, the lunch lady arms. Yeah, that's when you know the food good.
It slapped.
Somebody told me when I was young, yeah, she got that. She's skinny, but she still got that. When she hit about 35,
should be BBW. Probably.
Yeah. No, that's low.
I ain't gonna lie. Like, if we
that's low.
Like, ignorant man section, that is definitely something that I always paid attention to. Like, girls,
you all Ray Charles niggas. Yup.
If they had like untoned big triceps, biceps, I was like, I'm 21 right at this moment.
Hey,
I'd be like,
studies on this. Like, it pans out.
He's likely gonna be BBW a little bit later, like 3 kids, 2 to 3 kids later.
Oh, especially after that first year.
If you already 18 to 21 with the big granny arms, yeah, I ain't. It just wasn't for me. Like, shout out to my guy Kofi. Some guys like him big. I ain't, but to each his own. Saying all that to say, to get back on point. What's his name? Neely Fuller. To me, the part of it that was interesting is, like, pointing to specific pieces of Black culture in which, like, saying it's childlike, but also understanding how much white people steal from, take from, and adopt Black culture, and glorify, and even it's one of its biggest exports that it uses, and the fact that most of those things, when you get outside of the elite class of, like, rich white folks, these are mimicked by white people as well. These are done by white people as well. And that was the part, to me, like I don't know, it was interesting to where I can't necessarily agree with Karen being Big Mama for me.
Yeah, if anything, they looking up to us in awe. Like, wow. The way a child might look at their parent, like, wow.
I mean, we are the original man.
But yeah, nonetheless, if you can hear us, Trey.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can hear me?
Yeah. If you want to give us some closing thoughts,
Oh yeah. So as far as the Neely Fuller situation, I think the people who by parents, he didn't mean like. I think he's just saying that they control all areas of human activity. So if you want to get into banking, they're going to be the authority there. If you want to get into entertainment, they're going to be the authority there. Like with war, they run that. Like so, that's all he means by that. I think some people get turned off by the word paternal because it's like implies some like familiar, like some family type situation. But I don't think that's what he means by that. And unfortunately, like not all white people, but unfortunately, the white people who are who are believe in white supremacy are more powerful than the white people who don't believe in white supremacy, and the people who are in all these positions of authority just so happen to be white. So I know there's a lot of pride where we don't want to like admit or like that our condition. We want to say like I'm not a victim, but at the same time, if you want to fix a problem, you have to face a problem. And I think until we acknowledge like our circumstance here truly for what it is, we're not gonna be able to get on code together to unite against it. And I think another thing is that they want us to believe that we have our own autonomy and our own authority because that keeps us distracted from galvanizing together against it. So that's we're actually playing into their hands with this whole like that's not my mom. I'm not they're not my parents. I'm not a victim. Like like the biggest thing the devil wants to do is convince you he don't exist. And I think the biggest evil in this world is white supremacy. So I think that's all Neely Fuller means by that analogy.
So, Trey, are you saying that white folks are your parents?
And this, like metaphorically speaking, if parents represent the authority, and the children represent the people that have to follow the rules or be punished by the parents, I think that metaphor checks.
Gotcha. I'm gonna throw to a statement made by Chike, and I'll ask y'all, just respond. Is there a moral hazard to seeing ourselves as permanent victims?
No, there's a strategic hazard in not acknowledging our situation. I think that pride. We're not permanent victims if we wake up to the problem, but we will be permanent victims if we have all this pride. Like we're not victims right now. Like we have to acknowledge we're being victimized before we can stop being victimized. Otherwise we will be permanent victims. So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I disagree. I think like I think we've already acknowledged black people. Like, I mean, how much more do we have to sit and acknowledge what they've done? No, it's not like it's something that we haven't grew up learning, especially even like outside of school. It's something that within churches, our communities, it's always been taught to us what they have done. But I think if you consider yourself a permanent victim, I think that's where you're no longer looking for the solution as far as within yourself or what you can do. You're just only looking for somebody else, or we're looking for them to change. They're not going to change.
But I think that's where you're getting confused though, because people think that when you acknowledge that you're being a victim, that means that you're just going to throw up your hands. No, we're just identifying what we're up against and keeping our eye on that. Like, yeah, you're right. If we just throw up our hands, then that would be a problem. But nobody is Neely Fuller's not advocating for us to do that.
But that wouldn't make you a permanent victim then. If you're working through the thing, you're not a permanent victim.
Exactly. Neely Fuller didn't say that we're a permanent victim like indefinitely. He's saying that we're a permanent victim if we choose to not acknowledge, like due to pride, our current situation. Then like we'll never get out of it.
So at what point are you no longer a victim?
when we replace the system of white supremacy with a system of justice.
Nigga. Like real answer, like that. It's gonna take all that just for a nigga not to be a victim.
As long as white supremacy prevails, people who are not white are victims in that system.
Hey, Black,
Okay.
talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely gotta. I'm on mute. You definitely gotta acknowledge the problem. I mean, I know I don't personally feel like no permanent victim, and I see a lot of people that don't either. I don't think there's nothing wrong with acknowledging, like you say, we are in this system of white supremacy or white inferiority complex, whatever, however you want to title it. But I do think there are some people that live under a cloud of oppression and this woe is me type vibe. And, even I see like with some of the prominent Democrats I follow, they just always on some constant like, oh, we can't win and this is everything is happening, the world's crashing down. At the same time, they living good, and their lives are really not truly affected for real here in our country where people around the world might be dealing with like real serious issues. So yeah, you can be a victim because we are victims in a lot of ways, but we don't have to act like it or say that we're victims all the time. We got to put forth action and be the change we want to see, live the lives we want to live at the same time, but also acknowledge when we being victimized. Like when there's instances where we are being victimized, when there is inequality, injustice, and how we're treated, and and things in our education and our banking and our housing and different things that we get the short end of the stick. It's all right to kind of yell that out, but it's also, at least me, I wouldn't want to make that my identity because we still got life to live at the end of the day. So we're gonna be like, crying and complaining all of our lives. We know people who've made that their life and it ain't get them nowhere. So I feel like I can live my life and at the same time I can call out injustice too, but I'm not no permanent victim.
Do y'all agree with this thing too, that you can't unvictim yourself? Yeah, like somebody said in the chat, you can't unvictim yourself.
I think that's just a weird way to say you were victimized at one point in time.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can.
Like, you can't like no longer have been a victim of a thing. There's no way for us to erase the 60s.
Yeah, you can't erase what happened.
The slavery, anything like that. If like that's the thing that he's saying, I think he just worded it inside a weird way. But if you're saying that you can't erase the past, but you control the future, then I agree with that completely.
But do you think white supremacy ended, and what year do you think it ended?
Do I think white supremacy ended?
Yeah, like when did white supremacy end?
I don't think that like that. It's a weird framing of it. I don't think that white supremacy ended. Like no.
When you think it started, Trey? What year you got?
I would say maybe under the Romans. Some people say under the Romans. Some people say in 1400s when they pushed the Moors out of the Iberian Peninsula and started the slave trade. But white people didn't even exist for the vast majority of human civilization, so it had to have some time, like towards the end, and continues into this day. So my point in asking that question is that if white supremacy still exists and it's still like the way of the world, then how can we say that we're not victims anymore? And real quick, A Black said something interesting too, like. It seems like the people who acknowledge white supremacy the most, who are most outspoken about it, are the ones that are doing the most to fight it. But the people that tell us not to acknowledge it or not to be victims, those are the ones that really don't do anything to stop white supremacy. They just tell you.
And when you say like the most to fight it, what does that mean?
Galvanizing the people, starting new media, spreading information.
That's not like a new way to attack this thing. Like that's like one of the older ways that everybody's seen happen and work and attempted.
So you think it's useful
like this talking about it and then like whether it was in the 60s and passing out pamphlets, or through music. You got the Gil Scott Herons as we continue like moving through. Like you can just keep going through, whether it's public, like acknowledging and speaking about it through whichever medium and media forms that was of the day. These aren't like new tactics that have existed when it comes to addressing white supremacy.
But it's still an important tactic, though, right? To inform people
I
about.
don't think that is not important, but yeah, I guess I wouldn't chastise people that aren't like still doing that after already have had done it for extended period of time. Like it's is it a track that's needed for sure, but I don't think like that's I don't think that that's going to solve white supremacy and its issues. But I think that it does good to kind of get like the voice out there. I think, in my opinion, that's something that's most reserved for the young, for the youth.
Well, real quick though, it could do the Tupac thing where it may not change the word, but it will spark the mind that does. And on the other thing, if this wasn't such a powerful tool, then why do they keep knocking off all of our people that are that do it the most prolifically?
I don't know what you mean by that. Like, talking about like in the last 40 years?
Like, we had a lot of people who were doing what you said we've already done, which is, spread the message, speak on everything like that, and they were galvanizing the people. And I'm saying if it's not effective, then why did they assassinate them?
Well, all right. So I think you're talking about a couple different things. Like you're talking about like the COINTELPRO, the like eliminating the black messiah from rising from the ranks XYZ. I think that's different than like saying that we have media that's talking about a thing. These are like different concepts in general.
I don't know if it's that different. You're still informing the people. And,
no, now we're talking about like black leadership. Like that's different than black media. Where
I think it's an evolution more so than being different.
So to answer your, like, to me, I don't know if like who has been like the prominent black leader that has rose from the ashes in the past 40, maybe 50 years.
But that's not what I'm asking you. They killed the people who were doing stuff like that, who were galvanizing people, spreading information, trying to wake people up. And if that isn't useful, then those people wouldn't have been assassinated.
But
that's my point.
I never said that. Especially during that time, this is pre-internet, most people being like completely literate, that going, and whether you're doing like the Malcolm way, where you're like literally, what is it? Not shoebox, but like you're sitting on a corner and you're actually like preaching the word and converting people inside that way. You could do it the MLK way, where like you're doing like these big performative things that's getting into the big media sphere, the white media sphere, XYZ, to continue to push your message through speeches. Like these are valiant and valuable ways. This is different than getting on YouTube and talking about something.
It's interesting because it seems on YouTube you can reach a lot more people and build a bigger audience than you could just manually being on the street corner. So
you get views, but are people mobilizing audiences to do very specific, tangible things?
Yeah, like they did reparations rallies. They're pulling up on different commissions to make sure they had the language right, and we're talking about what the language needs to be by quoting Claude Anderson and quoting Neely Fuller and a lot of our legends. We put in raising money for documentaries that spread information, like Haiti talking about their revolution. That was good that we raised the money for that, and talking about the Maroons.
Right, but I guess what I'm asking is like, what has that moved the needle when, like you said, that we can't be non-victims until we eliminate this entire system of white supremacy and get a system of justice? What has any of that did to do that thing?
I mean, I don't think any of this is going to happen overnight, but I think sometimes.
No, I'm asking, what has any of it done inside like a tangible, progressive way to like legitimately go towards that?
I think we always talk about collective. What's the word for having like circling our dollar around and putting our money towards things that are to our benefit? I think a lot of these grassroots spaces are training us to do things like that. Whether you agree with what they use the money for or not, I think if you have something,
I'm not saying I disagree
pro-black.
Anything. I'm not saying I disagree.
I'm saying whether you do it or not.
Okay, you talking about like speaking in general. I got you.
Yeah, I'm saying, whether you agree with any of that or not, I think that we can all agree that it's a good practice for us uh, to put our money together for things that are for our benefit, and then make that a priority and be proud of it, and not have to depend on that dominant society to get anything done. Because I think the whole reason they came up with the Hidden Color series, because we were saying Precious and movies like that made us look bad. So he was like, let's all get our money together and produce something that's going to be informative. And then it started like, not a movement, but we've all seen Hidden Colors, and that was one of the first documentaries of its kind. And so I think that if we continue with that progress, then I know that we don't have the results that we need right now, but I think what we're doing is building in the right direction. Versus us telling, like, just don't be a victim, just work hard, whatever they would say on mostly on the right. Like, just quit talking about white supremacy, it'll go away. I think that the opposite of what I'm talking about doing is like a lot less effective than what I'm talking about doing.
Right. I guess what I'm saying again is like, talking about it has been a thing that we've done for at least about a century.
We should keep talking about it
But
too.
no, I think that and this might be like a perfect segue into our actual topic. I think that there becomes a time where actionable items does become a thing where we need to start presenting tangibles, because we get on the Democrats for talking about shit all the time. Talking. Cory Booker was just talking. That
I
nigga was
think
just talking.
I thought
But
I told you some
I think that at
tangibles,
the end
but
of the day, we tend to eventually need to have tangibles if we're going to do what you said, which is like eliminate the system of white supremacy with a system of justice. It can't only be through like us talking and not actually doing things. But nonetheless, we'll continue this if we have time at the end of the
I
show.
got you. Yeah. I told you a bunch of tangibles. But
What
I got you.
What was the again? I asked you a very specific question. What were the tangibles that led us in a step that actually is leading us to eliminating the system of white supremacy and putting in a system of justice?
We're pushing reparations to the forefront. We're pushing this delineation movement, which will prepare us for reparation. And then when you start seeing language like that in documents, like, you can see that, and it wouldn't have happened if we didn't push for it. Then I
But like,
think that is
what can I put my hand on right now and say has changed?
the way
Like, you just talking about like the ideas of things. Like, it's been mad ideas
No, I'm
that's
talking
floated.
about we have legislation that's being worked that has the language that we needed to use, and that's a direct result of these spaces that we have. So legislation, I think,
So is there is there anything that has been passed yet?
has it been passed? No, but they weren't even trying to push it until we started talking about it, bro. Like, I think we
Like,
just
I
need to
can't
be a
talk
little.
about it,
I think we
but
just need
like
to be a
right now
little
you're
bit
talking
more
about like,
patient, bro. You should be. I think you should be a lot
again,
more like great. Have a lot more
I'm
grace for people
not
trying
mad
to
with
help
being
you.
patient. All I'm saying is that at this specific moment, there's not been tangible. Like,
I
it
mean,
could,
at this
like,
specific moment, yeah, it's not happening
tomorrow
overnight,
I
bro.
can look on the news and like it gets passed and I got to retract everything I say, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
at
Q.
this moment, I'm only speaking about this moment.
Well, Q, there's
But
absolutely nothing we can do to make it happen overnight. But when we do make it happen, I don't think you want to be on the side of history that were of the people that were talking about it's never going to happen the whole time and just criticizing the movement, rather than
who
trying
made
to
that
help.
statement?
Hmm?
Who made that statement?
No, I'm saying, like, you're being very critical of people that are actually
No, I'm
doing
asking a
something they
very
believe in on
specific
the
question.
road to tangibles. And then I think when we get there, I don't think you want to be on the side of history that was just criticizing and tell us we're not really doing anything, versus the side of people that are actually trying to help them do something and get it done. I don't even know
Right.
why you would even like.
I don't know like the value of appealing to like a future what if. But saying all that to say, tangible actions, tangible items. That was a quote that was made popular by none other than Hove. I think that we got at least two rappers on this panel right now, or retired local rappers. That's what I like to call myself. We do have at least two guys that have produced, I know for sure. And I see a guy that's been behind the camera multiple times. Hey, Black, did you ever rap, produce? You never pick up a pen?
Both, man. I actually rap before I started doing the videos. I just started making money from videos, so I stuck with that. But yeah,
Okay, got you.
I was
I
rapping
remember you
heavy.
from the Elevated J videos back in the day.
Yeah.
All right, so saying all that to say, a lot of times we do dive into the topics of political, geopolitical, Afro, Pan-African, FBA, XYZ, but we'll start with a little hip hop. We was in the chat. There was a conversation that was circulating, and I think that we can eventually broaden it out to a larger conversation. But there was a conversation about Jay-Z and Jay-Z being a puppet. So I guess I would like to know, or we can start it off by just asking, is Jay-Z a puppet?
For who though? It's like who is he a puppet for? I feel like they're sellouts, and then they are selfish people. Sellouts who like constantly are, pushing messages and agendas that hurt us, and then they're selfish people that kind of, look out for their own self-interest. I think Jay-Z is at a level where he sees his limits, especially as a Black entertainer billionaire. Okay, so we got Black billionaires. Take Robert F. Smith, I think might be the richest Black billionaire, but the difference between Robert F. Smith and Diddy, Kanye, and Jay-Z, I can't think of no other Black billionaire, maybe even Oprah, but I'll stick with the men, is they have more influence than Robert F. Smith. They have more influence over Black people, over culture and stuff. So they're more of a threat than somebody in that financial investment realm that the average Black person don't even know. If you go in the streets of any hood in America, they don't know who Robert F. Smith is. And it's other Black billionaires in tech and things whose names are escaping me right now. So I think Jay-Z has seen like, all right, in order for me to stay at this level, there's only a certain way that I can be. The moment I become super pro-Black, the moment I'm for my people in a heavy way that influences them in a good way, they're gonna come for me too, because he got skeletons in his closet, I'm sure too, like a Diddy, who was suing Ciroc, who was doing the revolt thing, who was he was starting to spin on his Black empowerment thing, Kanye, same thing, when you kind of start talking a certain talk, or we can go into Bill Cosby or whatever. When you start talking a certain
Michael
talk
Jackson.
as like a Black billionaire, Michael Jackson, Prince, people start to mysteriously disappear or get discredited or get their voice taken down. Like, so they ain't killed Kanye yet, but now his voice isn't as powerful no more. Like I remember a time I used to rush to a Kanye interview, a Kanye tweet, a Kanye song. I unfollowed him. I mean, that's still my dude, but it's like they take the power out of the voice. So I can't say he's a sellout fully unless I knew him for real and I knew his motives and intention. Because there could be a grand plan. It could be let me keep stacking, let me keep rising as high as I can, and then go out with this bang. But it's like we don't really know these people for real. I think we have expectations as fans of and this kind of what we would do if we were him, what we would do if we was in this space, if we had this money, we would end world hunger, we would talk about this, we would do that, but we really don't know. Your brain chemistry, your psychology changes when you get to these different levels, and these people, you can speak out and get martyred, or you can kind of protect your interests, protect your family, and keep rising and keep rising. So it's like I have expectations. Yeah, I look at Jay-Z like, damn, he could be doing this and saying this at the same time, but I also know that's gonna put a target on his back, and he go get martyred, he'll get killed, he'll get discredited. And what Black people go do? They go dance and line dance on to the next situation and shit. So it's like
right now.
I see that dude, the rapper, what's his name? Toby. I can never say his last name. The African dude.
Something like that. Yeah,
he said something dope the other day. He was like, I love y'all, I love my art, but I ain't trying to be Malcolm Martin. I'm not trying to die for y'all niggas. I think a lot of people are taking that route. Is like, what do they get for dying for us these days. Like,
damn.
And I guess let me ask you this, because I know you said something I guess along the lines of like him not being pro-black. I'll run down.
And I think he is pro-black in a lot of ways. He got a black powerful woman. You know, he employs people, but at the same time, I don't look for him to be the pro-black leader. Malcolm X already told us our entertainments, our sports stars, they're not our leaders, you know? So it's like, I don't expect Jay-Z, a former drug dealer from New York, to all of a sudden become fucking Kwame Ture and Nkrumah and some like freedom fighter and shit. Like, I don't, you know?
And I guess like speaking to like inside the lane of like an entertainer, just doing like just some looking around of like just some of the things he done. Like it's hard for me to see like these things as not pro-black, where like Father's Day, you bail out thousands of fathers, like like during whether it was like the Baltimore protests, you're bailing out the people that was actually, especially mainly black people that was there. If you go back to like the early 2000s, you have the Sean Bell like fund for his kids. If y'all remember that whole scenario and situation, he has a scholarship fund for black kids. I think it's like, I forget, is it the Sean Carter Foundation? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. It's never enough though. It's never enough. If you're not dying for him, it's not enough for him. These people want you to die, man.
He's actually spoke out about and put his money up for criminal justice reform. Like shit, if you want to go to the music, you'll be like, damn, 444 is pretty much a black financial literacy album. Like there's G, we can't hear you. But
are we arguing Jay-Z's not pro-black?
It's not a sellout.
Like again, when we go sellout, when we go he's a puppet, and like I guess I'm trying to understand, and I'm not like the big, like I don't even know if I'm like a big Jay-Z fan like that, but trying to understand how he's either, i.e., a puppet / sellout, even if we go industry standards. So him being behind Tidal, which offered the biggest streaming cuts of any streaming platform for artists, also allowing artists equity inside the company. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to understand.
So in the company that he eventually sold, right? So but
he also did remain boardman on this company. But yes, he did sell a company that wasn't doing well.
And so to me, I think
you're a capitalist. You like that, G.
To me, I think he's a shrewd businessman. One, okay. Two, I think, and look, before I called Kanye the GOAT, Jay-Z was my GOAT. Pause. Like, so I actually grew up like.
Why you had to pause that one?
It didn't sound right. I had to pause it. It didn't feel right. Pause. All right. So look, growing up, I was definitely like heavy Rockefeller. I'm talking about when you got in the whip, the CD booklet, I had all the rock. I was at Best Buy every Tuesday getting every Rockefeller project. So I was heavy into Rockefeller. And so I think for me, when I say Jay-Z is a puppet,
okay,
it's not to say he's anti-black or needs to be this black savior and you know, to that degree or anything like that. What I'm saying is that the Jay-Z that I grew up on, say from Reasonable Doubt to let's just say Black Album, because that was when he like made that first sort of retirement, right? So that run to Black Album to me is one version of Jay-Z, and then post that is the corporate puppet version of Jay-Z.
Yeah. And what makes him a corporate puppet?
So because this is where the shrewd businessman really makes him shine in the music business, because he knows how to he took brands like Ace of Spades from nowhere to through the roof, right? So you have to ask yourself, right? Like, It's same.
Like, how is this like negative inside any means as a black man?
Hold on. I said puppet. I said puppet. You're saying negative. I said he's a puppet.
So black man.
I'm explaining. I'm explaining. He's being so a puppet means somebody's pulling your strings. Like you're not really in control. Like you're working for other entities, and that's essentially what he does. He became president of Def Jam. That was his first like corporate gig. If you remember back to that time, his peers were not fucking with him at all once he became president of Def Jam. LL Cool J to this day still don't fuck with this nigga like that because of how Jay-Z was as president of Def Jam. And when you are president of a hip hop label, you are definitely strings being pulled by something, if not multiple people. Would you disagree with that? If you're a president of a major hip hop label?
For sure.
I think that by that meaning, everybody's a puppet then. It's such like a weird loose way to like put something.
A lot of successful music artists are, yeah, but Kanye is no longer not.
White mommy, white daddy.
If you're putting like all of us are all just puppets then. Like if there's somebody above you, that would mean that they're pulling the strings. That I guess that would be one.
No, because you got to look at how he. But you gotta look at how he started. He started independent, like he was preaching independence. He started with his own label.
You talking about like, Rockefeller wasn't independent.
It was an independent label, and then they got a deal with partnership with Priority, then got a partnership with Def Jam. But they were an independent entity who partnered with another label.
And again, like so, this is like being an entrepreneur. And again, like starting a startup and then eventually selling your startup for profit and becoming a member of like are we downing black people for moving up the ladder?
No, it's not. To me, it's not. It's not moving up the ladder. Like let's use Jay-Z and Nas. Let's use Jay-Z and Nas as both comparisons because I don't see Nas as a puppet. If you want to compare two who did like Nas is savvy, investments, corporate success, made hundreds of millions of dollars off of his venture capitalist ways. So like he got paid. He found another route to get like a bunch of money and get paid. But
he also promotes Hennessy too, though. He also got a Hennessy deal.
But that's authentic to Nas. He's always fucked with Hennessy. Like that's not a puppet. Like this is my thing. It's like, but Nas didn't go out of his way to get a Hennessy deal. Nas was drinking Hennessy before, like Nas just because he drank Hennessy. Before, like Jay-Z drank Ace of Spades because he's paid to drink Ace of Spades. Nas drank Hennessy regardless of how much he's getting paid.
I'm sure you understand the story behind like the whole like him getting a champagne company, right? Like when they found out that the white people that they was buying all
the
these
Cristal,
bottles,
yeah, because they made the Cristal pop. They was talking shit.
Let me get my own equity in some of this actual like inside a company. Like I don't understand how we can say like we're capitalists and we want people to
so let me ask let me ask you this, because again you're putting so what I'm saying is he is a puppet,
but what about
he's used by corporations to do like corporate bidding, like
but
why
he's also using the like again, if these things are mutually beneficial, like if each step he's clearly moved up the ladder, what makes that a puppet instead of being like a mutually beneficial step up the ladder? If every single time he progresses, and then in progressing, he also continues to put his people in position and bring black people up.
When you say his people, like you're literally talking about like
whoever's around
like a handful of his like closest people, right?
That
like the same individuals, because you can say his people, but then you can also talk about people like Dame Dash that he doesn't fuck with at all.
Is Jay-Z known for bad record deals? Is Rock Nation known for bad management and just fucking artists over?
A lot of niggas don't stay. Wale left, Meek Mill left, niggas.
But none of them have ever said
J. Cole left.
But none of them niggas have ever said the money was wrong, that they was fucked over, and they all had the ability to leave. That's not how record labels typically work.
That's not his Def Jam story though, Q.
What's like? what's his Def Jam story? He wasn't over.
Mad artists are not happy with how he ran over Def Jam. Like, it's just a react. Like, if you go back, you can listen to all that roster at that time, from Joe Budden to Redman to Method Man to LL Cool J, Fab, etc.
But what? Damn, again, like, man, that's a lot of mad niggas for
DMX. Yeah, for sure. DMX definitely wasn't fucking with Hov.
Right, but again, like, are they mad that
his peers referred to him as a puppet? I mean, so this is what I'm saying.
I'm just asking, what are their actual complaints? So if during that, what was it, like 2 or 3 years that he was at Def Jam, are they mad at him for now being the face of those bad contracts that they already signed? Like that's 9 times out of 10 the reality of it. Like, you're in the red in your contract, you didn't recoup in your last album, and so
you're talking DMX. You recoup every time.
DMX might be a different story, but again, we all know the story of DMX. Why? What was the why to that story?
So at the time,
again, just being the president of something, like the face.
It's not just being the president; it's because of what you were before. So this is what I'm saying. So like, if you represent something, and then you switch what it represents, like. If you because you talk about like the people that he looked out for, but you're not talking about the people that he also left behind once he split Rockefeller. Like, that wasn't this like, oh, everybody was cool, mutual, split ways, y'all do your thing, and so forth and so forth. It was not like this thing where everybody was on the same page. And the way that Jay-Z talked about Rockefeller was La Familia. It was supposed to be a family thing, a unit thing, and that was not the case. It split. Now, so why did it split?
But like this meme, for example, like Jay-Z paying $12 million of DMX's Def Jam debt. Is that not La Familia?
What year was this?
I don't know. Let me see if I can look through it. 2006. Right here.
So that was before like change clothes and all that, right? Or not?
No, change clothes was before then.
Because
again, like that's like this is again like I don't know whether you do good business, bad business. Like, an artist that is content and happy and don't complain about the label or their manager or their PR or like their producer or their videographer or like, but if you're not saying that he's actually fucked, like you got Diddy stories where people say you fucked me over.
He fucked Dame over for sure, and that was his. But that's supposed to be your partner. Like the fact that niggas don't even talk about like. So you telling me Jay-Z didn't fuck Dame Dash over in the name of being president of Def Jam?
I had to relook at the specific,
and then this even goes to like because like he was arguably like the story is that Leor Cohen is the one who pulled those strings, if you will. So it's like, this is what I'm saying. Like, if you come up with a group of people and then you get to a point to where you start backdooring, your own people to separate and then put yourself in position and then leave others hung out to dry. I
think that's a very interesting like perspective of the breakup of Rockefeller, in which we've heard everybody give stories in which everybody, like literally everybody, has a different version of.
I don't know, man. It seems like most people are saying Jay was a snake.
I don't know what like the most people are. But again,
Jay broke up Rockefeller and became president of Def Jam. Cool. That was the reward for the split. It was, I'm splitting to do this. And once he split to do that,
think that he split from Dame Dash for a bunch of other litany of reasons that have been like documented. But again, all I'm saying is that like we could just take like friends and business. This doesn't have to be puppet or non-puppet. There's breakups to groups. There's breakups to companies. There's breakups to startups. There's like we see mergers and people get ousted all the time, right? What I'm asking for would be like, what are the things like? So we're starting at like, it sounds like y'all starting at the president era of Def Jam, what did he actually do that was like negative to artists? What did he do that was inside the best? I mean, like that was in the worst.
But see, that has nothing to do. See, what he did negative to artists is, aside from the fact that when you're president of a label, you're now in this seat where you are no longer making decisions. Like you're taking orders. Like you have bosses now, so you have to do things accordingly to those who cut your check.
So because he was the president,
it wasn't always
he was like because he was the president, and also as the president, he didn't do anything like negligent to the artist. But just because of
some artists don't say that. Look, like I said, LL still don't fuck with this nigga to this day.
But why?
Because of how Jay-Z treated this nigga's rollout. Like artists were saying, basically, Jay-Z funneled all the money to his people, the folks that he fucked with, that he would bring on. So the legacy Def Jam artists didn't get the same budgets as Jeezy, Ross, and Rihanna, his big three. And so that's the beef there. Is like, okay, I'm a legacy Def Jam artist. I'm sitting here fighting because where do you get your budget from as an artist? You get it from this nigga who you've been competing against.
Think about what you just said. So we're talking about Jeezy came out 04. Rihanna came out 05. So we're talking about the budget for LL Cool J in 04-05.
You disrespecting one of the GOATs.
No, like
he
reality.
Built Def Jam. What is Def Jam without LL Cool J? That nigga should have a blank check budget.
That sounds good, but legacy acts don't just get the biggest budgets just because of everything that you like. What
you can also kill legacy.
But you talking about back when music actually had budgets? You talking about back when music Freeway was going gold? You talking about when Young Guns was going gold? You telling me LL Cool J wasn't going platinum?
Jeezy is not in that era. Like if you're using Jeezy as the metric, Jeezy was the first artist of everybody you named. That was 04. That's not the metric. Like again, if you're going earlier, like you go to 90s when they opened up the budgets, that's a different time. If you go to 2004,
early 2000s, they had budgets.
04, again, 04. They wasn't just opening up the budget for every artist, but again, if you have Jeezy and then you have LL Cool J out of his prime, what is he like? He's like he's like 3 albums past his biggest, not even his biggest, just like being relevant for real. Like
that's disrespectful. It's LL.
Yeah, man.
Again, all right. So what are we saying right now? This sounds like a general artist being disgruntled because of, again, I've been here for a while. I'm the running back that's on my 10th year, and because I ran 9,000 yards, I feel like I deserve this payday. But guess what? That manager says, you are no longer putting out. And like, if we look at the metrics for what everybody has ever done after this, it don't make sense. It's the same exact scenario.
Yo, Q, can I add to that scenario?
Hasn't had a hit since then. I don't understand what like.
Yo, Q, can I add to that scenario?
He's not been relevant since maybe Head Sprung in like 02.
He's been doing TV.
Something
movies.
But Q, let's say that football team though was one that you and G started together, and then you let some person from outside the community help you finesse becoming president over that company that y'all started to be independent, and then now you're working with that person outside the community and you wrangle it away from the person who started
he didn't become
president. You don't think that's kind of shady? I mean,
no, they just they got rid of Rockefeller.
Yeah, again, like.
I mean, I don't see how like being a not nice businessman and looking out for your interests or your people's still makes you a sellout. You know, it's just
I think he's a puppet. Specifically, I think he's a corporate puppet. That's my opinion. I think he's a corporate puppet.
He gave control to people outside our community that wouldn't have had control otherwise. I think that's a sellout move.
Like the deal with Reebok, for example, like this is what I'm saying. He became a corporate puppet with how he started doing his stuff, like his bidding.
So branding is makes you a corporate puppet.
When you don't rock the shit, yes, nigga. That's my point. Some things are authentic. Like some brand deals are authentic, like Nas and Hennessy. Nas was drinking Hennessy way before he ever had a sponsorship with Hennessy. Wiz was smoking way before he ever had his own strain of weed.
So do you think Angel Reese will sell out for a McDonald's deal? Because you know she not eating McDonald's, but she got her own burger.
Run down the line of like everybody.
See, y'all keep saying sellout. I say puppet. I don't see sellouts and puppets as the same.
But then that means like most capitalists are puppets. Then
a lot of them are. A lot of them are.
You're doing something that's like you don't have to wear something, but you see that it's beneficial for you and that brand. Like this is like most brand ambassadors in general.
That's why they put the names on stadiums and stuff. That's why it's Bank of America Stadium and Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
I don't think that it like just makes you a puppet like that.
If you doing real estate, right, G, and you selling a home and you got a client and they ready to close on everything and they just want you to change the shutters a different color, and you like, cool, no problem. Are you a puppet to your client?
No, the answer is no to that. One, and then two, the that's not a puppet to me. When I say a corporate puppet, let me be clear. A corporate puppet, as in,
I saw something tweaking. I saw something fly across my damn screen.
Oh shit!
So when I say a corporate puppet,
no more.
I think
on me, Ricky Bobby.
So cute. You have you got a platform on YouTube where people might want to give you money for you to promote their stuff, right? Okay. Are there things that you will just say no to, or is there just a check that can be cashed and you will do it and promote it?
No, there's things that I would say no to.
Okay. So to me, when it comes to like Jay-Z and Reebok as an example, that's Jay-Z is a very luxurious, like hustler, money getting nigga. We not wearing fucking Reeboks, and I never wore a fucking pair of them S dots. They were trash. Like that was not a good deal. It was he should have turned that down. Like it's not a line.
You did make me think about getting them. I ain't never get them.
Get them shits. Them shits was garbage.
AG was AI sellout. Was AI sellout for working with Reebok?
No.
But hold on, before that, but I've seen Jay-Z with them on his feet too. But but again, during that time, I seen niggas with S dot Carters.
All right, man, niggas with S dots, no fucking way. Don't no way.
It's like your own personal bias to it. But
it's not a good. This is what I mean by corporate puppet. It's like you should have turned that down. Like you're open to doing partnerships just based off of the check.
Fuck with it. I don't see. What makes
like Snoop and Skechers? Snoop is a corporate puppet. This nigga promoting Skechers.
I mean, but it's a big check though.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. So
what about that is the puppet part? Like if something's mutual,
your control.
But if it's mutual,
you can be. It's one thing to be a capitalist. It's another thing to be seemingly controlled by money. Like you got a lot of money. You can be very selective.
But he has hands in on the design. Again, he makes a profit share off of it, and again, he wears it. I don't understand what part that deals with like a puppet. Like if anything, again,
I think a puppet is when you have no control of what you're doing. Like these people are.
You think Snoop is on Skechers? No, like what Snoop got over Skechers?
I don't think nobody forcing like a gun to your head like. Work with our brand. I think they put a check in front of you and you choose whether or not this check is good. You know, like, all right, is he going to dance in a chicken suit and coon for it? I don't know. But it's no different than your job. My job is I get deals, I get a check, I use my platform that I created to add influence to your brand. I get a check from it. Like, hopefully it's not nothing that's detrimental to my community. Like then I would give you more of a puppet or a sellout thing, but a shoe or a sneaker.
It don't got to be detrimental. That's my point. Like just because you a puppet don't mean you doing something detrimental. It just means you a puppet.
Every capitalist, most niggas like pretty much everybody working a job is a puppet.
Yeah, yeah
if you doing shit you don't believe in at your job, then
no. Because now it's like don't believe in. Like if you just Like if you wasn't that, if you just don't want to do that every single morning that you wake up, and you're not in joy of it, then clearly you're a puppet by this metric right here.
So what if I work for a company
Jay-Z
that
got
focus
20
on
million. Jay-Z got
work
20 million in 2003 for his deal with Reebok. You know, so I mean, that's a puppet.
And you wore him, and again, like I said, I seen some niggas at school with him during that time. But
They had
like,
a moment. They had a little moment.
That's what I'm saying. Like niggas. I don't see how that part makes it puppet. But let's continue to moving on. Again, as I said, like I did list off like a bunch of philanthropy work that goes directly to Black causes. Whether it's bailing out Black fathers for Father's Day, we're talking about scholarship funds for Black kids. We're talking about protest actually bailing out people, criminal reform. Again, we talk about like we want jail and criminal justice reform, putting money up for that. I'm trying to understand where the sellout / puppet part. What are the things? What are the pillars outside of, I guess, brand deals that would make him a puppet?
I mean, sometimes the good outweigh the bad, though, man. Because was Rockefeller at one point like Black owned and operated? They weren't controlled by nobody. Is that true?
Yeah.
So if that's true, and he dissolved that, so he could be the president of a company that was owned by people, someone who came on Breakfast Club and said that he doesn't care, he wants to push his violence and all this other stuff because it's not his community and make some money, and you partnering with someone like that when you used to be part of an all-Black community, I think that's kind of like you agreed to be a puppet, and you sold out. I'll go further than G with that.
So understand, like Jay-Z and Dame wasn't seeing eye to eye. We do all agree to that, right?
Then don't go outside the community.
So like you can like
all-Black.
no longer, and again, like they split their shares in Rockefeller, I think by thirds.
But
it wasn't like they just like said we're just giving all these things away.
He gave
they
control
still had
to
ownership
the
on
dominant
what it
society.
was down to thirds, which was it Biggs, Dame, and Jay-Z, 3-part owners, if I'm not mistaken. But it's not like they didn't already have beef or like the writing of Rockefeller falling was already on the wall. This had nothing to do with whatever his next move was. But because of a Black business dissolved.
Funny as fuck.
Which word?
I was saying Fat Boy funny as fuck with the super chat.
Oh yeah, shout out Fat Boy. I ain't even see this. He says, "Man, I'm late as F, but I can hear the that word now is guilty."
He said Zuniga is guilty. That's what I found.
I don't even know what he's talking about though.
He's talking about
Carmelo.
Man, Steve Stout made Jay-Z a corporate puppet. It just is what it is. It's like he went from being an artist, like focused on say making money via music as an artist, to making money as a corporate puppet. That's just the reality.
But so making money in the music business outside of being an artist makes you a puppet?
No.
Man, he got a long list of infractions though too. Because what about?
I'm asking.
But what about the whole thing where they were trying to start a union and
Nas did it right.
They're trying to say that Jay-Z sold it out, and then they all ended up getting Fed cases. If that is true, hypothetically, if that's true. If that's true, would you say that's some puppet mess?
Hold on, we can't talk about if stuff is true. We can't talk about negative rumors on Black men. We can't do that. Can't do that.
You talking about how you
no negative rumors on Black men? We can't speculate. No.
How you
can't do it.
were mentioning what Karmelo's family spent the money on.
No. Why are you bringing that up? I didn't bring that up. You just brought it up. See, I'm trying to you bringing something up that you say we shouldn't bring up. And I'm just trying to make sure we don't talk negative rumors on Black men on platforms. I'm trying to be responsible.
I don't know if this is so much of a rumor because a lot of the people have the same story, and then they said that Jay-Z sold out the plan. So if that's accurate,
all right, you just put Fed you put Fed cases on Jay-Z when clearly Murder Inc. was working with known drug lords.
That's Supreme. That's the Supreme team. That's why they got caught up. Like Irv and Supreme,
I got you. So it's just a coincidence that right when they were going to start this union thing and left that meeting, they all like immediately had RICOs. Because they hold information on you until they're ready to drop it on you, right?
But they
Like,
put
they
that
hold
more on
information.
50 than they do Jay-Z, if anything. Like whether
I
you
thought
want to
they
go
said
like
Jay-Z.
literal, like what Irv Gotti was talking about, like they say it was 50 that snitched on him.
I thought they
don't
said. I
put,
could have sworn they said Jay-Z in that clip. Where
bro, you
Jay-Z
could go
went and
to
told.
like Irv Gotti's last Breakfast Club interview. They
One
talk
thing
about
I won't say Jay-Z is a Fed worker. I never accuse him of working with the Feds. I don't think he's one of those types of niggas. That I will say. I don't think he's one of those.
Well, I'm
but
not
like the
saying
Murder
that
Inc.
he
case
worked with
has
the
like
Feds.
it's so many things that's way past Jay-Z.
I'm not
Where,
saying,
like if you want to go like an artist, 50 Cent would be the one though.
y'all
Like
pushing what
they
I'm talking about.
shot him. It's like whether you want to go the whole paperwork route, like it will be way more 50 than like having Jay-Z.
No, bro, but you misunderstanding. I'm not saying that Jay-Z personally like snitched to the Feds. I'm saying Jay-Z let people outside that meeting know what these people were planning, and those people, they are tapped in, and then you see them put Fed cases on black entertainments that are trying to make a power move all the time. So that's very plausible.
But oh my bad. Or again, they already had Fed cases on them that was down the line.
That's how they do
came
it.
from like why would Jay-Z tipping them off to the union be like that the thing instead of them shooting 50 Cent, them being associated with an entire drug organization, and them already having previous years of documented shit on them, and it already being like a thing that was in the works.
But that's how they do it.
But then again, like Irv got like the people in Murder Inc. don't put this on Jay-Z. I guess I'm saying like I don't know where this conspiracy would go if Irv Gotti and Ja Rule themselves don't put it on Jay-Z.
I wish we could play the clip because I sent it there and they were talking about Jay-Z in that very clip. So,
but who was talking about Jay-Z?
It was like Irv and Dame Dash and what's the dude from Houston, Jay Prince, because they were talking about collaborating.
You in the chat?
Yeah, it's man, we're not gonna find that was a minute ago. I have it in a playlist somewhere, but basically he was saying they were trying to start an artist union where like a rappers union where they had to donate some money and then they would use that to I forgot exactly what the plan was, but they said Jay-Z became aware of the plan and he tipped out some people outsiders. And with Fed cases, they sit on information, and then when you become a problem, that's when videos come out from like decades ago, like with the Diddy and Cassie situation. They've been had that, and they've been waiting for Diddy to do something stupid. So we can't just say that, you know what I mean? Like they probably don't allow you to get in a position of power unless they got some dirt on you and they can pull your car when they want to. Or they could just make something up like Michael Jackson. So I mean, it's not above these people to use a Fed case against a person that's trying to do something that's empowering to black people.
Yeah, I would just go with what the actual people that was involved in the Fed case would say would be the reason that the Feds came.
I got you.
That's just what they say. I will only go by what they say if I'm gonna go by any version of hearsay. But I would also just think that being associated with a really well-known and funded by a really well-known drug organization, and also the hottest rapper at that time, pretty much making records saying that you shot me, and it was through organized crime, would probably have something to do with it. And then them saying he snitched on us. I probably would just, I don't know. I would probably believe that. But fellas, saying all that to say, trying to broaden this off into a bigger conversation.
I found
what
clip,
makes
though,
you
see it?
Oh, you do? All right. Did you send it in? Send it to the chat and I'll pull it up.
All right, baby.
As he is bringing it up, let me ask y'all, what makes a puppet? All right, so I guess it sounds like we do want to separate puppet and sellout. What makes a puppet? What makes a sellout? I think that he does get accused of both of these. What makes a person a puppet? What makes a person a sellout, fellas?
I wouldn't call Jay-Z a sellout because he said he wanted to rhyme like common sense, but then he did 5. and he ain't rhyme like common sense. And when your sense got that much in common and all that, like he breaks down lyrically why he went about his music career a certain way, and it was to, you know, maximize the revenue. Like he talks, he boasts and brags about like that. And so I wouldn't call him a sellout because he's not lying about that. To me, sellouts are like people who like trick you, so to speak. Like, we thought you were one thing and you were something else, like from that aspect. So he's never presented himself as somebody who wasn't, say, about the dollar, about the bag, hustling, etc. So I wouldn't call him a sellout, but I call him a puppet because the way he used to get his money was way more road. That's all I'm saying. It was way more on his terms, his way. I mean, that's how, you know, that's one of my favorite songs, that off that I Did It My Way. Dun, 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 dun. Gangsta nigga. Like that, like classic.
I'm just trying to understand how getting your money your way makes you a sellout.
I didn't say that.
Right,
not a sellout, my bad, a puppet.
No,
I didn't say that either.
Yeah.
What did you say? My bad. Maybe I misunderstood.
So
I thought you said that he got his money his way. Is that not what you just ended off by saying? And then you quoted the song, was like that.
That's how he did things. Yeah, as an artist, the way he got his money as an artist versus how he gets his money as a corporate puppet is different. It's like.
So you think that like you don't think he's strategic in how he does his brand partnerships? So he's just like,
I think Jay-Z's. I'm not saying puppets aren't strategic. Like, he's definitely strategic. Like, this is what I'm saying. But he gets used to do corporate bidding. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, corporations. I'm sure he's got a team that tries to sell Jay-Z as a brand to corporations, right? But then there are corporations like Travis. What's that nigga name? Travis Scott. Fucking Happy Meal. Yeah, like
that's
like
easy puppet too, right?
Yeah, like it's like.
Okay, so let me ask you this: who is not a puppet?
Like I said, right? Nas is the best example. If you want to talk about like peers, Jay-Z's peers. If you want to talk about Kanye, Kanye would be somebody else. 50 Cent would be somebody else.
You
like,
saying that people are not? How are these people not? Puppets?
Tell me how 50 Cent.
Well, Kanye was not a puppet for
today.
Adidas?
Currently.
What about Nicki and Dolph?
Kanye definitely was down with the program, no question.
You saying he's current?
Jay Prince,
like begging white men on yachts? I don't know. That's puppet behavior to me. But
if
Kanye's not a puppet because he's nobody's cutting his check. Nobody's like. I put like this: Jay-Z can't just go out here and say what he want to say. That's also when you can't just go out and really say what you want to say. That means you're being controlled. Yes or no?
Yeah, or you don't care. You can take his $1 billion.
But again, by that metric, there's like two people in the world that's not puppets. Then,
right?
Like when you make it that broad, where fuck brand damage, fuck anything.
That's not that broad. That's not that broad. A lot of niggas are speaking truth. A lot of niggas speak truth, but they broke.
Who are really saying what they want to say?
Successful. Like there are artists out there, rappers out there who speak truth.
Who? I guess
Killer Mike might be one as an example.
Bro,
I'm not even gonna say a nigga like my son.
Most of these niggas will not talk about them people inside Israel at all. No matter how much they feel about it, ain't never.
But why would they talk about that as black people?
Because that's how they actually feel, and that's what they talk about.
But why are we talking about?
Jay Electronica is married. Did he have a girl, or was he married to a Rothschild?
He was just fucking one.
He was fucking one.
Yeah, Killer Mike's an example in the chat.
To me, it's like
arguments with that shit.
If you still got a semblance of choice, you're not really a puppet. Like, I feel like a puppet is somebody who, like a Herschel Walker or somebody, you know, like he didn't have any depth on any key political issues. He was a black face put in position to be really a puppet for the agenda of white people, you know. So it's like or Tim Scott even. So for me, puppets are more political than entertainers, because the entertainers are choosing it. Now they might not be making the best choice or the best choices in our interest, but it's like, or somebody call them a plant in a sense, but we haven't proof on it. But it's like somebody who.
So you don't think Herschel Walker had a choice to run?
No, I think he got sat in the room, and I think people got around him and was like, you can win, and this is your talking points. This is what you do, and you feed them information, and you see that when you're challenged by the media and you can't speak on certain things, but you're here in this position. There's people around you that put you in a position, and don't worry, Herschel. Just like a football team, we gonna come around you, and we'll tell you what to say. We'll tell you what to do. To me, that's a puppet. It's like. You're doing stuff. You're doing stuff against your community.
Fact, by G's metric, like every artist has to be a puppet. Then how can Killer Mike?
They all
not true.
No, because there's somebody above them that's allowing them to do whatever they say that clears.
That's not the case, and that wasn't the case when Jay-Z was actually putting out. That wasn't the case when Jay-Z made Blueprint. That wasn't the case. Like
you said, Killer Mike. Killer Mike is signed to a label. Killer Mike has to get his songs cleared. Killer Mike.
No, Q. I can't let you do that. He control his whole budget. He control his whole budget when he won the Grammy. The whole budget, full independent. It was a big deal.
Okay, so he was a puppet, but then he became not a puppet.
Run the Jewels, fully independent. That's a big deal. Like you can't just disrespect Killer Mike like that. He's fully independent.
Just like Jay-Z was.
Tech Nine, fully independent. Freddie Gibbs, fully independent.
Would Candace Owens be a puppet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's another question though. I don't think you have to know that you're a puppet to be a puppet. I think you can be around people that put ideas in your head and boost you up, and then laugh in the background. Kind of like that scene we were looking at with
3-6 Mafia won't puppets.
I mean, they were kind of puppets, man, because they pushed that demonic agenda.
They served the devil, man.
They did, but they did what they wanted to do. That's my point. They weren't puppets. Like nobody.
The way you use puppets keeps changing because of, again, if somebody is above you, green lighting your budget, clearing your samples, doing like all these things, are in control of what you're doing. You're a puppet.
I said when Jay-Z was an artist, no, because I said when Jay-Z was an artist up to Black Album, he was not a puppet. I said that.
But the metric that you use on the business side would then also make every artist a puppet.
No, but you're trying to apply when I say Jay-Z is a corporate puppet to music art. Like that again, a corporate puppet is different than say a puppet like a artist like an artist that's used to promote things that, I don't know who a current puppet like artist would be, but like Jay-Z is beyond making music. Like once he got past Black Album, Jay-Z wasn't used because of his music. He was used because of his presence and power. Like
3-6 Mafia is broke except for Juicy J. They don't own their music, and Juicy J on stage telling white people they can say nigga. Like it don't really get more puppet than that. Like it's like Jay-Z is getting ownership. He's getting his masters. He's getting other people's masters and stuff. Like,
bro, 3-6 is not broke. Why are you spreading these lies?
Like Project Pat. I seen them roll up. Like they're broke.
Project Pat is not OG 3-6. Like he's a part of like the crew, but that's like that's like saying Killer Mike is Outkast. Like they are part of the same group.
Pat 3-6, man.
No,
maybe you meant organized voice.
It was Crunchy Black, Juicy J, and DJ Paul. That's 3-6, and they had
Crunchy Black broke.
I think he died.
He definitely broke.
Disrespectful.
So disrespectful. But if he was African, you wouldn't disrespect him like that.
He might be. You don't know. You don't know his lineage.
Yeah, Fat Boy, let the Memphis. Hey, Fat Boy, they talking bad about Memphis, dog. I don't know why they talking bad about Memphis like that.
I love some Memphis music, man.
Yo, so do you remember that clip we watched from the Spook Who Sat by the Door? They're talking about how they're chosen Negroes and they use them, that type. So are those black people that they select? Those are all puppets, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you don't think Jay-Z might be one of the ones that they pick?
I don't think he was selected or picked. I think he's playing the game. Like he's navigating the game his way, and
he works with the Democratic Party, right?
I mean, it worked. It
to
worked
promote
for
candidates. Like, does that put you in the puppet boat once you start like using your platform to promote?
How often do we
candidates?
see? How often do we see Jay-Z really in public or like being promoted? Like he's pretty low. Like he's pretty
He
like
used
on
his wife for that, right? Because
I mean,
was
she
all
come
the
out,
attention.
she come out, do her campaigns and disappear too.
Is
Like,
Beyonce a puppet?
Yeah, I think so.
when
I
we
don't know
say
enough
a
about
puppet,
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. See, now it's like because if
Well, when we
Beyonce
say-
is a puppet, don't tell me Jay-Z's not.
But when we say a puppet, we gotta say who they a puppet for, and then what agenda are they pushing that
mommy
is
and daddy.
detrimental to black people.
No, you
Right,
don't.
I
No,
agree with you.
that's the part where we disagree. You don't have to have a agenda detrimental to black people. I don't know why we're adding in that caveat. Like, I don't think
What are you a puppet?
That's literally a
you're a puppet to
definition
make
of-
money. You're a puppet to make money. Like you're being
No.
used to
And
make
that's, again, every
to make-
capitalist then.
That's not. It's
It's
not
every-
though. Like I said, Nas is not.
If you-
Nas is not.
How? Like he did a
He
brand
did venture capital.
Listen,
But
they say
he
that
got
they
his money
say
through
the
venture
term- they say
capital.
that-
His
He
deal with
invested.
Henny with his
He
deal
got his
with
money through investing.
his deal
But-
with Henny would make him a puppet.
No, but he
deal
got
with-
his
his
deal
deal as
with
an
Henny
artist-
is minuscule. His deal with Henny is minuscule to the wealth he built off of his investments. That's disrespectful to his
And the
portfolio.
nigga,
But
he made a
then you
good
can
point.
go
He
with
always
Jay-Z
argued
and
all
his
the time,
investments
bro.
and what he's made up his investments. Like I understand. Like it's
Jay-Z made his money by having to work with and partner with corporate entities. That's
Right.
different than actually just investing and not having to do any work for and take a title and take a check and do a job. Like these are different strategies.
Okay,
Jay-Z
One makes you a part of that corporate puppeteer system. The other does not. And I'm telling you, like that to me, those are two perfect examples of one that is and one that's not.
So can we like agree on a definition of puppet? So I got this right here. The term puppet is often used in political, cultural, or social conversation to describe someone perceived as being controlled by outside forces or not acting in the best interest of their community. Among some black communities, this label has been applied rightly or wrongly to public figures when their belief is that they're not advancing agendas that serve their own people, but institutions of power. They distance themselves from black identity or struggles, or they fail to speak out on issues affecting the black community. Would y'all agree that's what a puppet is?
that's what I've always known a puppet to
You,
be.
you that, and by the way you read it, it said it was one thing or another, meaning it can be two different things, right? By the definition you just read, I just want to make sure we all on the same page.
No, it gave 3 points that fall into the common belief of what people think a puppet is, and it listed 3 different things.
And so, and it's not saying you have to be all 3 of these things. It's saying one of these things, this or this
you don't
or
gotta be
this, right?
All 3, yeah, you can be.
So
all
for
of them
me,
or one of them.
that first part, the first part of being controlled by outside, or I don't, was it sources, people? What was the wording? Being controlled by
Being
outside.
controlled by outside forces are not acting in the best interest of their community.
Being controlled by outside forces. That's what makes you a puppet.
So do we feel outside forces are controlling Sean Carter?
Yes.
And you don't think he is choosing these moves, that somebody is forcing him? Because control is almost like you're being forced, like you have no control.
You could be a willing puppet, but like if Jay-Z's interests are based on who's going to pay him, then that's not that you're being manipulated.
But don't we all go to work every day with our interests?
No, I'm talking about if I tell people I like something and I didn't know what that was, but you're paying me now, I'm pretending like I like it, and that's how I move and that's how I make my money. Then I think that's like that's not very high character.
But that's the workforce. Everybody acts like they like
But I don't
stuff
do nothing.
to get
I don't
paid.
do nothing I believe in. Like, I wouldn't do IT for like a gentrification company and no shit like that, or some mass security or something.
Right, they put the right.
But what is Jay-Z doing? Like, we're talking about him. Like, talking about him having sneakers. Like that's not hurting the black community.
Because he's partnered with people like we had a.
I'm not arguing this. This is Trey's argument.
This is different. Yeah, I'll go on my own on this. But we had Jay-Z who owned a label that was black owned, and then he partnered with people who don't care about our community, and then if they pay him right, he's cool with that. So I think that's traitorous. If you brought in Clive Davis,
give an example. Give an example of he's partnered with somebody.
Like Def Jam, what you was talking about, even though this isn't G's example, I think once he ceded power to people outside the community from a record label that was originally black owned and conservative, I think once he did that and let them in, I think that was traitors, because it would have been nice to have Rockefeller be fully black owned, and then for them to have the thing I put in the chat for the union. If we had that, like if those things are black empowerment related, and if Jay-Z did anything to prevent those things from happening, then that's very traitorous, in my opinion. Especially
is Rock Nation black owned?
I swear I was just about to.
It is. Rock Nation's black owned.
That's Jay-Z's. Yes.
I believe it.
Let me double check on it. I was just looking it up, and I was about to make that statement.
Because I mean, it's like Def Jam wasn't his baby. You know, he learned, he grew in it, and then he moved on. You know.
Yeah, this is Jay-Z.
He's a founder and the chairman, and it says he's primarily owned by Jay-Z. So I don't know who else.
That makes it his company.
It says Michael.
He moved on, started his own black-owned label.
Because if we go by that, then clearly Nas is a puppet, because Mass Appeal isn't hit like primarily owned by him. But again, Rock Nation would then be an example of like it's still black owned by what he does.
Desiree Perez, is that the informant that you always talk about? That's also see. I don't know.
But he's
primary. The things that Jay-Z is doing.
He has a black owned label also. Okay,
so Miss Perez was involved in a conspiracy to distribute narcotics. So she just became an informant, but basically only brought her up.
Talking about Jay-Z right now.
Yeah, because apparently she's a she is a.
Who's the primary owner of it?
Jay-Z's a primary owner. But
let's stick to Jay-Z. So basically, is Jay-Z a puppet, or are we a puppet? If he do a deal with Reebok and every nigga run out and buy it, are they the puppets to Jay-Z?
I mean,
so it's like
they puppets too. Yeah,
more indicative. It's more indicative of the community than him, because if he don't have no influence, he can't be no puppet. You know, he's not forcing nobody to buy shoes, to buy liquor, to buy these things. He just influential and being a capitalist.
Man, the CEO of Rock Nation is a Fed, bro. That's weird. Is a federal informant is the CEO of Rock Nation, but Jay-Z owns it though.
Okay. Again, we're only talking about it being black owned and it being
so
it was Rock Nation, and then he also later owned
Lamar in the Super Bowl.
What you call it? After again, we all know that he had a feud with Dame Dash. They split, but he then also owned another black owned label to this day that pushes out, whether you don't want to talk about the J. Cole, the Rihannas, the XYZs. I don't understand what we're talking about.
What about partnering with Leo Cohen, like TBI talking about? That's not problematic. Did you saw the interview with Leo Cohen said in Breakfast Club and said like he doesn't care about pushing negative agendas on the black community because it's gonna, fill his pockets. And then that's who Jay-Z partners with.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Now he got more money than Leo Cohen.
That's crazy. I got you. I think that's
again, like I understand what you're saying. My main thing would be that if I had seen him start to adopt the exploitative practices of Leo Cohen in the industry, I would understand that more.
Well,
but if I look at it as, if I look at it as him understanding infrastructure and looking to be in the room to understand how this works, and then doing his own in which we see that he did, then I look at it way differently. where if you do a 3-year internship where you're learning how the good and the bad of the industry, and then you go on to launch the biggest artists of this next generation. I don't know.
He owned his own label before that. He knew the ins and outs of the industry before that because he was part owner of his own label. Like,
but we could also say that
CEO's
there's no artist that he's ever had. There's no artist that he's had that was at the level of Rihanna or J. Cole.
Kanye, like what you talking about?
I guess but Kanye at that time, under him, he never was at that level.
Hold up. You telling me Kanye wasn't at that level under Rockefeller, but when my big brother was Big's brother, like you telling me Kanye wasn't at the pinnacle of hip hop?
That wasn't under Rockefeller. That was
what are you talking about, dog?
When Big Brother
dropped Rockefeller chain on.
Bro, what are you talking about?
When did Rockefeller dissolve?
Graduation? You talking about graduation?
I'm asking you, when did Rockefeller dissolve?
So you're saying because technically graduation came out after it dissolved, Kanye's not a Rockefeller artist, is what you're trying to claim.
What I'm saying is that
because even when late registration dropped.
No. So again, understand what I'm saying. I think that maybe you can attribute College Dropout to whatchamacallit, to Rockefeller. I think
late registration too, right?
I think that was during the time that Jay-Z was over at Def Jam. Let me look up when Jay-Z was at Def Jam, just to make sure. When was?
I mean, he had a whole
late registration was definitely it says Rockefeller Def Jam late registration.
All right, so I guess this then comes down to like, when are we attributing Jay-Z not being over Rockefeller? Because he was over Rockefeller from 04 to 07.
Graduation says Rockefeller Def Jam. I'm just telling you what on the wiki says Rockefeller Def Jam.
So then by that metric, all of these things are done through Rockefeller then. Because again, he was president clearly of Def Jam from 04 to 07. So you got to cut the pie either way. Either you're saying that Jay-Z wasn't in control of Rockefeller and that all these things happened after Rockefeller, or you're saying that Rockefeller still existed and he was president of Rockefeller and Def Jam. Like, I don't know which way you want to cut the pie.
Wait, say that again.
So he was president of Rockefeller, not Rockefeller, Def Jam. From 04 to 07. This would be during the launch of not graduation. This would 04 was College Dropout, and it runs through graduation.
I think 03 was Dropout, but maybe 04. Yeah.
But and again, like, I was already willing to give Dropout to it, but it seems like and I can just look it up right here. College Dropout. It was 04. It was it was 04. February 10th, 04. But
that's crazy, man. It seemed like you more critical of Tariq Nasheed than Jay-Z. It was kind of crazy.
I don't even understand where like the comparison.
Because I mean like we had a whole segment where we were being so critical of that, man. And then Jay-Z he's partnered with Leor Cohen. He sold out his homies. Mm-hmm. All his homies said they sold him out. Even recently they're talking about Tory Lanez talking about getting sold out. He has all these shots against him, and then he gets all this grace. Meanwhile, we have black advocates. And then it's just a weird thing we do in the black
I don't know.
community.
Like, again, I'm mainly for like the tangible things that I can say this person did that is definitely impacted black community.
Nigga, we can't recognize.
I'm not specifically like
friend of foe. State your biz.
Right.
I'm not specifically a Jay-Z advocate. Like I'm definitely like he's never been like my guy growing up. But like in looking at what the facts kind of like lay as, and if I go away from if you look at every specific case, what actually makes sense, like you was throwing out a Murder Inc. RICO case that like has nothing to do with Jay-Z.
Man, if you get a chance
again,
to play
we can talk about this run through artist when a person was at a label from 2004, like a 3-year span, 2004 to 2007. And like put that on them, but I also can read off a list of tangible things that he's doing yearly.
Damn,
And so
TBI.
to me, like that's the part where if I'm going to like elevate or like chastise somebody, I would at least need to be able to see the things that he's done negative and compare that to what I can see that he's done positive. I can see that things that he's tangibly did positive.
So what
Outside
about
of being a
negative?
capitalist, I haven't really seen the things that y'all pointed that he's done negative.
See, and again, can I be clear? What you be so fixated on is negative. What I'm simply saying is he is a corporate puppet that corporations use to make their money. He
makes his money as well. So it's like an equal. Do you agree?
I don't think it's equal. I don't think it's equal. No, I don't think it's equal. I think they make more. Like I think they like so you know how y'all you know how you told me you told me capitalism is inherently exploitative. Like you getting exploited because it's capitalism.
Yeah.
Same thing like a LeBron James. No matter how much he gets paid in the league, he can never be fairly compensated, if you will. Right. I can't say that he's getting fair value for what he's bringing to the table. I can't necessarily say that. Like, I don't know the ins and outs of his deals, the value he brings. Like his influence. Like, I'm not trying to say his influence isn't undeniable. His impact isn't undeniable. Like, again, before Kanye took over as number one, I was one of those like diehard Jay-Z dudes. So, like, I wouldn't say like, again, he's shrewd businessman, all those things. All I'm simply saying is, if you look at Black Album and before versus post, there's a clear difference in how he approaches things and how he speaks about things.
So
we could have had
and that's what I hear is that like you're not saying that he's anti-black, non-pro-black, not like he's not a sellout. You're just like critiquing the way that he's went about business, and that's like our disagreement is the use of puppet and how you see it, but you don't even use it as like a specifically derogatory term towards like how a black read the definition as much as the idea
part of the definition,
as much as being not on the fair end, not on the positive end of business deals, even if you have properly gained, and like it's its own nuance, but this has nothing to do with like the actual black cause, and that's so like. I feel like that's something that we could put in the box and we could argue another time. I think that Trey is arguing the sellouts conversation. And
yeah, bro, like what TBI just said, bro, he partnered with the enemy of the black community to be strategic. Like that's not acceptable, bro. Especially when Rockefeller we wanted that.
So every artist on Def Jam is a sellout too, then, right?
The majority of artists are
no. Every artist would have to, because they're damn.
Oh, you muted, Q.
All right, you would have to bring it to the overarching label that owns all the record companies, because that's still owned by a white man. And
yeah,
so
see,
like,
that's what
like being
did.
an artist in general, if you're not independent, you're a sellout. So no matter what your content is, no matter what it is.
So that makes what Jay-Z did even more egregious, because if Jay-Z would have kept Rockefeller the label like black owned, we could have had more like a Motown. But now everybody that signs to his label since Jay-Z sold him out has to compromise a little something. So it gives him every opportunity to introduce plants into the community, because we don't have.
But he has a black owned label. This falls flat because he has a black owned label.
Is the CEO it's not all black owned. The CEO is not black. The CEO is a federal employee.
No, he's the primary owner,
but he's not.
Again, he founded it. Like
there's still it's not black. That's not black owned.
All right, so
you got partners that pull the strings. It's not black. That's not.
It's not. If you're the founder, you're the primary owner and board member.
You're not the CEO.
Like he's the one that pulls the strings. I don't understand what you're saying. And the person that you're talking about, like the CEO, that's like a Hispanic woman. Like in which you have like his own issue with, but like this is black owned by all metrics that we've ever judged anything black owned.
So he cut out the partners, the black partners, and now he partners.
Well, him and his black partners, his original partners wasn't on ideal terms. But
he's on ideal terms with Lyor Cohen.
He's not partnered with Lyor Cohen.
He works with Lyor Cohen, bro.
Rock Nation. All right. Okay. Again,
What
like,
about so how's Def Jam and Rock Nation related, or are they not related?
I don't specific like you can look it up to see if they're related. I don't want to speak ill, but I don't know them to be related.
Oh, I didn't know they were completely separate.
Yeah. Now I'll say this. I don't agree with Trey. I think
No, they're not under Def Jam at all.
Separate.
Rockefeller,
Okay.
co-founded by Jay-Z and Dame Dash, later formed a partnership with Def Jam, where Jay-Z briefly served as president, and Jay-Z eventually
right.
left Def Jam to establish Rock Nation. So
No,
JG
Rock Nation is not under Def Jam.
So they're not affiliated.
No. So again, he's not in partnership with Leo Cohen and is black owned.
Let me look more into that.
No, but I think you're being a little harsh on Jay-Z, Trey. I think there's more he could do, obviously, but I think, he's playing his role as far as like.
That nigga doing more than most niggas is doing.
And but I think like just
90,
because
he's doing more than 98% of niggas is doing.
But I think it's a little unfair to say just because he's not a martyr or just because he doesn't want to risk like his personal gain that he's a sellout. I think that's a very unfair task because it's like not everybody wants to be Malcolm or Martin. Like, and you can't blame anybody if they don't want to do that. Like, I'm sure it'd be nice if he wanted to, but like we can't, not everybody's gonna be built to do that. And I think that doesn't necessarily make you a sellout, especially if you're not going out your way to, shit on the black community or, do that.
So I guess Leo Cohen was Jay-Z's mentor, which is interesting. An enemy of the black community is your mentor, and he played a significant role in his early career. Cohen is the head of Def Jam Records, signed Jay-Z, and helped launch his rap career. So it sounds like that's the puppet master, bro. That's your mentor.
You ain't never had a white boss.
So now you're saying
that's an enemy to the black community.
So clearly, Rockefeller was
anybody.
Not someone that's spoken out and said things against about the black community that's detrimental.
So then Dame Dash and them would have to fall into this, then, right? So Rockefeller, we throw that all away.
So Leo Cohen mentored
to help launch his record label. That's what you just said. That would have been.
I said Def Jam. I said Leo
Cohen. Read the whole statement again.
Rockefeller existed way before they went to Def Jam. They already had Rockefeller before Def Jam.
He said help launch his rap career. It doesn't say help launch Rockefeller Records anywhere.
What launched his rap career? Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable Doubt. That was with Priority Records. That wasn't even Def Jam.
What launched his rap career?
Reasonable Doubt.
Leo Cohen.
Okay. Again, that would then lead. What was?
That don't got nothing to do with Dame.
It deals with Rockefeller.
But Leo didn't mentor Dame. You added that in there. It said Leo mentored Jay-Z.
What I'm saying is that if you're saying that Leo had his hands on Jay-Z, he is a third ownership of Rockefeller, which then would mean that Rockefeller was also being controlled as well by quote unquote the puppet master, if that's what you want to call it.
No, they were partners. They had 50-50. They were like a JV. That's what it's called. They were a joint venture. Like Dame Dash talks about it on multiple joints. Well, how that's Dame and Lior hate each other to this day. And
but you're going closer to my point. But my point, like he's saying that he was pulling the strings with Jay-Z specifically. I guess that it almost gives him what's 50 plus a third of a third. I don't know that I guess that what I don't feel like doing math, but I think that's 17. So 50 plus 17 is 67. They give him 67%. But yeah, like you would have to throw away the whole Rockefeller argument, given what you're saying. So then it wouldn't even matter. And now he finally has a black-owned business with Rock Nation. If we're going by your logic, Trey.
No, I don't think Dame Dash and what they were doing.
If it was a joint venture with Def Jam,
but hear me out.
He also was pulling the strings with Jay-Z. That gives him 67% ownership, quote unquote. That would then mean that it was not black-owned. It would also would mean
no.
Oh, my bad. What was you saying in G?
No, Rockefeller was always black-owned. I'm confused by what you mean.
No, did you say that it was a joint venture?
No, not Rockefeller.
Okay.
Rockefeller and Def Jam had a joint venture. Rockefeller was its own entity.
Right. And when it released records, it was a joint venture through Def Jam.
They partnered with Def Jam to release the record 50-50 as a joint venture. Def Jam plus Rockefeller presents the record.
Right. That goes to what I'm saying. And maybe what record
are you trying to say that Rockefeller isn't black owned? Like I'm trying to, because that doesn't go to what you're saying.
All right, so I'm only going off of what you're saying, right? I haven't did this research, but you just said that Rockefeller and Def Jam had a joint venture. Yes or no?
Correct.
A joint venture at 50-50.
A partnership. Correct.
Right. Again, so now if we're are you talking about for one album or are you talking about albums? Let's maybe that'll make it way
No,
more.
I mean, like I'm trying to figure out, what do you think Def Jam owned Rockefeller? Like, is that what you're trying to say? Because that's not the case.
That's not close to what I'm saying. But answer that question first. Are you talking about like for albums or for one album?
A business deal, multiple albums.
All right, cool. So now we have that split at like things that were coming out of Rockefeller Records was a joint venture 50-50 with Def Jam, correct? All right, so let's leave that by itself. That's 50-50 Def Jam and Rockefeller. Now I'm addressing what Trey said. Trey said that Lyor Cohen's has been the puppet master behind Jay-Z since before he like helped launch his career. So he was pulling the strings with Jay-Z the entire time. This is now where I get into the 67% part. Where then if you're saying that he was pulling, Lyor Cohen was the puppet master and was pulling the strings in this joint venture that was a third owned by Jay-Z, then not technically, but figuratively speaking, like he was pushing buttons on 67% of the deals that was getting pushed through.
Yeah. If you're saying Lyor Cohen exercised power through Jay-Z,
over Jay-Z,
yeah, through Jay-Z, he was able to infiltrate a lot of, I guess, beyond the 50% partnership. But that don't got nothing to do with Dame Dash. That's Jay-Z being a puppet for Lyor.
Right. And again, like I don't agree with this, but what I'm saying is that if we take that for granted, Rock Nation would then be its own black, like the first version of a fully black-owned business that is pushing XYZ artists and non-associated with the white power structure.
I'm not tracking.
If you give
Rock
all
Nation,
those,
do they do their own distribution too?
I don't know. I can look and see if they have a joint venture with whoever, but
I'm pretty sure they got a distribution deal with somebody. I don't, because it's damn near. Like when you say first black, like what was Motown not black owned?
No. We're talking about with Jay-Z in this whole like era of things. He was Trey's point, and maybe this is where you're getting convoluted because I'm speaking directly to Trey's point. Was that Jay-Z left a black-owned scenario and then partnered with the white man to do white and black shit.
So you're saying Jay-Z was never independent from white folks anyway?
No, that's what you were saying.
I am saying that. Yeah, Jay-Z. If
I don't believe that, but if I was to go through that line of thinking, then I would say. You said what?
This is AI. I don't know if it's right. But it does say Lyor Cohen was Jay-Z's mentor and played a significant role in his career. I've never heard Dame Dash say Lyor. I've heard him say negative things about Lyor Cohen. I've heard a lot of people say negative. I've heard Lyor Cohen say negative things about the black community. So if that's your mentor, I don't think that's a very good sign for you as far as your credibility. That's all.
And again, G, I was taking his hypothetical at face value to make my next statement. So Trey's belief is that Lyor has been pulling the string. So that was the
for Jay-Z, yeah. Jay-Z was a Trojan horse that allowed, because without Jay-Z, I don't think none of this. I think this would have stayed black on. Like without Jay-Z's partnership with Lyor Cohen.
I don't think Rockefeller would have been Rockefeller without Jay-Z.
We could see. They say build another Hove. I think
Nah, you did. It was you needed everybody. You needed Dame. You needed Biggs. You needed Jay. Like I don't think you could really take credit from one. Like you needed. Like it was just a perfect. You'll never see it again. It was
You don't
just.
think he built a new Hove? You don't think he built a new Hove with Ye?
No. The thing about Ye is like similar to like 50 Cent, Drake. Like at the end of the day, Hove was that nigga. So
but Ye was that nigga. Like
no. Once Jay-Z put the blueprint out and it was like who was on these beats, Kanye went to a different level. Like Blueprint one.
But to me, like comparing Jay-Z and Kanye just is almost apples and orange because of the production.
Kanye's not Kanye without Jay-Z. Nobody Kanye's not Kanye without Jay-Z.
Jay-Z not Kanye. Like Jay-Z without like
that's true. Jay's not Jay-Z without a lot of people, frankly.
They help make each other. But what I'm gonna say, who did Def Jam do his distribution through?
I think Universal.
Are they black owned?
Oh shit.
Of course not.
So they not black owned.
And Ye has more global album sales than Jay-Z.
Of course.
Jay-Z had
I feel like he's dropped more albums.
Jay-Z actually doesn't have a what Jay-Z has is like the paid in full strategy. He doesn't have like big diamond albums. I think his highest selling album was Hard Knock Life Volume 2. Might went 5 times platinum. Everything else just goes like 1 to 2 times platinum, but it always goes platinum post Reasonable Doubt. Like that's the thing about he could always bank. It was gonna move 1 million units. He wasn't gonna have no. His first #1 radio hit was the shit with Alicia Keys, the damn New York. Like that was his first like #1 joint. Like, come on, man. Like,
there's a lot of shit. Would we have Alicia Keys if Aaliyah wouldn't have died?
I don't think that they even
what they weren't even in the same lane.
I think Beyonce.
They don't occupy the same.
I think Beyonce.
That's what people use the hypothetical at, but I don't see why.
Alicia Keys came out real low key behind that piano.
But it was like at the same time, like right after Aaliyah died, that's when Alicia Keys started.
They don't occupy the same space.
Right? Because Alicia, if you watch her documentary, she had been putting in work before she blew and stuff, like so. I mean, I love Aaliyah, but
she was a prodigy, low key. Like she was a child prodigy.
She was. Aaliyah dope, but her dying elevated her just like it elevates rappers. Who's to say Aaliyah wouldn't have fizzled out and got played out? It's just like when you die, you get a certain status, but Aaliyah wasn't no fucking Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson type shit. She was making some hits for her moment in time, and it was sad that she died, but she got martyred. Like
Alicia Keys can't sing like that. Let's be real.
Now she had vocal cord surgery and shit, but like she came out, she was blowing.
But that's the thing. Like music ain't about the voice. Alicia Keys do the whole thing.
She write
it, produce it, sing it. Like she a one-stop shop. Like
people don't talk about her beat making and stuff.
And at the end of the day, the music is beautiful. So it's like even if her voice ain't the most like whatever, the music to me, like I don't think you can deny Alicia Keys musically.
She got time.
Angie Stone is more talented of a singer than I don't know. That's my opinion. Alicia Keys don't got no soul, bro. She don't sing with soul. Alicia Keys don't.
You don't think that Fallen had soul?
Crazy.
No, bro, you tripping. If Songs in That Minor is a classic.
What happened? She's not neo soul artist, is she? Like neo soul.
Nothing at all.
That's not. Do you sound?
Bro, come on, man. That shit hard, man. Come on, man.
That's crazy. That is kind of wild.
Come on, man. We can't even do it.
Diary,
bro. Yo, Lisa, man, you can't disrespect. Hey, man, don't do that, man. You gotta. She like that for real. I ain't even gonna lie. She really is. Don't do that, bro.
Over Alicia Keys, bro.
And she do it humbly too. She not really over sexualizing herself. Like she really do it with the music.
Never had to. She got real talent. She never had to. Now
she really do it with the music.
At first I thought she was a stud.
And she stole that married man.
You did not think that about Alicia Keys when you first
Yeah, but
saw
she
her.
was in the diner with that deep voice talking about what you want.
Man, when she came out with the
Trey,
braids,
you tripping,
Boy, you was
dog.
going-
You tripping, dog. Yeah.
You a hater, bro.
I ain't never heard a nigga say, "Oh,
You
Alicia
a
Keys'
hater.
voice." Oh my god! Of
No,
all
niggas
the
was
things
all
to
Alicia
see
Keys.
and look
I ain't
at
gonna
on
lie,
Alicia
Trey, that
Keys,
seems like one of your weird little things.
bro.
And she
a
be
lot of women
awkward.
got
She
deep
like
voices.
awkward and shit on stage.
All the
too,
things
man.
you can hear of Alicia Keys and see of Alicia Keys, the one thing you reference is her alleged deep voice. Wow.
I know. I
She
also
came
think
out
that
with
she
them
can't
braids.
sing like
But
that.
she started the whole no makeup
Yeah.
movement too. She was like, "I'm gonna stop wearing makeup." Yeah, remember? Like she was the first to kind of do that at the forefront. She was like, "No more makeup."
I think I just would have been happy if we had more A. Marie, more Aaliyah, more Maya, and less Alicia Keys.
What
honestly.
makes A. Marie better than Alicia?
The way
She a
she's-
puppet. And Marie ain't writing no songs.
But
No
she can,
songs.
but
She
she
ain't
sang.
back.
produced it.
She back though. I heard
Her
she got
songs are
something.
positive though. I miss that. Like she's just saying about love.
Alicia's
and being
songs
happy and shit all the
positive.
time.
Trey, you tripping?
She keeps
What-
talking about
what was
falling.
That's one song.
Falling in love.
And
And then-
Alicia wrote for Mario.
another
I
one.
wanna know
Wait,
your
what-
name, man. I
Another
wanna
one.
know
It's
if you got a
Alicia
man.
Keys.
But A. Marie is like
Man,
this one
John
thing that's
Alicia
like,
wrote that.
Got the
She
New
like a
York hit
female
with
John
Jay-Z.
Legend,
Come
bro.
on, man.
Like John
wait,
Legend.
A.
don't got
Marie's
soul
song
either.
is like this one.
John
thing.
Legend don't got soul.
No.
Oh my gosh, this nigga is the church.
I don't even like
yes.
John Legend no more, but I got to disagree with that. Like,
Yo,
he
his
came
whole
out-
style is in the church.
I don't feel the soul, bro. Not like it used to be with these older artists before Neo Soul died. And I think Neo Soul only died because they started putting their money into other ventures. Like we need Neo Soul back, man. Like those are the artists like Raheem. Not Raheem Devon was after that, but like what are like the what's that? I can't remember all the names, man. But the Neo.
You don't, you don't even listen to Neo Soul. Come on, give me three.
Music
Just give me
soul.
three.
All right, three. All right,
This
put
should
that
be
woman-
easy.
All right,
Look at who is that woman?
You know, put that woman first. You know what I mean?
That's
Who
Neo
is that?
Soul. That's not no.
Jaheim.
We put that woman first in Neo
That's what I
Soul.
meant to say. Yeah, I meant
And
to
then
say
you would never put that woman first,
Jaheim,
right?
Erykah Badu, and Angie Stone.
Angie Stone got 2 hits. Like,
no.
name 3 Angie Stone songs.
Bro, like you could at least throw like D'Angelo for like Neo Soul for Dummies. Come on, dog.
Music Soul Child. Come on, like
Music Soul Child. Yeah, they all had soul. Like,
nigga
No
gave me
Jills.
Jaheim.
Jill
No,
Scott,
Yeah,
They had Neo Soul.
Like, Alicia
India
Keys don't-
Ari,
you won't get
Yeah,
the
that's what
same
I'm
soul no
saying.
more because they don't got the same struggle, man. That's why they
Anthony
call it Neo
Hamilton.
Soul.
Right. That's some. Those are people
He
that
from
can
the
sing
city.
and had soul. Now we got John Legend and
You didn't even say
Alicia
your
Keys.
own.
We don't have John Legend. John Legend ain't been out in like 15 years.
Yeah, we got worse now. I guess Chris Brown holding it down, but that's not even
That's-
soul.
that's
like
R&B.
pop. That's R&B.
Yeah,
We
that's
don't
like
have
that's
no more.
and that's like not even that's
John
like that's
Legend
like
damn
hip hop
near
R&B. They ain't even like traditional R&B like that most of the time. Like no ballad. The ballad is dead. No ballad.
R&B/pop.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think we would have
Or
had
country.
more of that if we like once they killed Motown. That's when the shit started going left. Just like after they got rid of Rockefeller. Once we get this stuff and it's not black owned anymore, that's when it gets watered down and we get all these artists that don't push it. Good agendas. They don't talk about love no more because they get controlled by outside forces. And I think Jay-Z kind of helped with that, with
I
us
think
getting to where
Jay-Z
we
done
are
put
now.
on a solid little roster of artists. I ain't gonna lie.
Art is a reflection of the times, man. So our culture is not into love or talking about love. You know, it's not the temptation age where all them niggas was doo-wopping and chasing girls with flowers. Niggas is swiping Tinder. Like love is different. So it's just a reflection of the time.
They go hand in hand.
Damn.
That's an age-old argument. Like art represent. Does art imitate?
Pussy ain't
life?
got
Does life
value no more,
imitate art?
Trey.
I think it would
Y'all be
have more
finding,
value.
hey, Johnny low key be putting me on to some fire R&B. It's some shit out there.
It's out there.
Yeah, it's out there.
Johnny
It's
come
out
up every
there.
Sunday with a decent little R&B record that I ain't never heard.
Hey,
Like
put
you
me
rather
on,
listen
John.
to some random unknown R&B than some random unknown rap these days. You gonna have a better chance of that R&B probably moving you than the nigga that's rapping.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, you got-
fellas, let me ask this as we do got a couple we got a couple people in the back end. Damn. I have been
No,
doing.
you do.
bro.
You do.
I have been doing. I've been doing well.
Yeah, a couple people.
Backstage,
Man, it's crazy.
backstage. My bad, Trey. I'll let you down on that one.
Is that back page?
All right.
Go back.
But nonetheless, I'll ask this question as we start bringing up the people backstage. Can a black person climb the ladder without being a sellout?
Nah, they're not gonna let you get a touch of B if you talking too much. They gonna quit that shit fast.
Yeah, when you say climb the ladder, you talking about really like the pinnacle. We not talking like a regular 6-figure job, so to speak. Not to say that was a regular, but we talking about like
however you want to frame. Like we can go 6 figures and above, especially going to 9.
Are we talking about tens of millions, or are we talking about like every day climb the ladder? Because it's a difference.
I think right now we're talking about like more of the elite class. We're talking about what is that? 9 figures and up. That'd be the easy.
I don't think you can, because no matter what, once you get to that kind of number, if you look out for yourself, people gonna call you a sellout. Whether you actively, doing stuff to put your community on. If you're not helping, if you're not a martyr, you gonna,
So you look at every black person that makes 9 figures and above a sellout.
I don't personally look at, but I know that term gets thrown around to most people.
But I'm asking, like, can you genuinely be? Can you make 9 figures and above, and not be a sellout?
Some people say no. Some people don't believe that you should be that rich.
Yeah, I think you can.
But that's a different conversation. But like just being a sellout. Does it take being a sellout?
You gonna have to kiss some white ass to get that much money, bro.
I mean,
you got to sell something,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's tough to.
Something gonna go for sale. Something.
Yeah, your dignity, all that shit.
Something gonna get sold.
I guess y'all all are saying that Jay-Z's a sellout then.
I think, and I'm not saying he's a sellout, but I know he sold a price was paid. A debt, like I don't know what was done, but he paid the ticket. He paid the cost to be the ball. Something was paid for him to be in his position.
What does that insinuate? I don't understand what that insinuates.
I think he gave that man whatever he wanted, bro.
I'm not saying that. See, Trey's it, but I'm not saying he did he. I'm not saying he did he.
Niggas come for me when I start insinuating shit. What are y'all insinuating when y'all are saying that?
I'm saying
you know what I'm insinuating.
Say it.
Listen, Trey. I don't want to assume you're insinuating. That shit leads to like 50 messages inside the chat. I
think you're probably right this time.
Oh man.
Kamu, talk to us, brother. You've been listening. What's going on? What is your thoughts on the conversation? Again, we're talking about sellouts. The last question I asked, can you climb the ladder and not be a sellout? I see you shaking your head no. But again, you've been listening. What is your thoughts? We can't hear you, brother.
Is it a straight bass? He got the Trey Songz? That's on.
Nah. He do got the gradient top though.
Oh,
no, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you, bro.
That nigga got the 1980s camera, don't he? It's like It's got that.
I'm trying to understand
filter or something on there.
A vignette.
Yeah.
Like the little gradient.
You got that film. This nigga like going live from the analog. I ain't never seen a nigga go live with the analog.
Damn, bro.
Twisting the film.
Damn.
Yeah, Kamu. I'm gonna maybe call back in.
That shit really like film. This nigga got a selfie filter on. Kamu, man, get off Snapchat.
Oh, it is like a selfie filter, ain't it? Yeah, it is. My dog trying to show his cheekbones.
Man, I don't know if they got the bandwidth.
We gonna like call in and call back.
American girl.
Like log out and log back in to see if that works. But until then, I'm gonna take you backstage. We do have a few more. Steve, my brother, what's going on?
Yo, what's good?
What's going on?
Good.
So I do think Jay-Z is a sellout, but not for the points that y'all are making. I think we kind of got to look at like a history of things that Jay-Z has pushed. And I just want to name off a few, that I can recollect that I went and researched. So he pushed the rent-to-own program. We know how exploitative rent-to-own programs have been historically, especially in our community.
Where and why did he push it?
I mean, it was a business. It's a business that he was a part of, that he helped raise money for. He was an investor. I like the type of things you invest in is an indication of what type of values that you have, right? And if either he don't know or he just in it for the money, either way, it's still a detriment because we understand how things like rent to own have historically worked out. That's just one thing. Let's go to the next thing. He pushed a scholarship program in which he told these kids that they was going to be able to go to school for free. Come to find out, they wasn't going to school for free. They ended up with debt, student loan debt, so forth, so on. Another thing, he was one of the main people to help spearhead.
That's crazy.
He was one of the main people to help spearhead gentrification in Brooklyn, and they used Jay-Z as the face to get the community on their side for a lot of that stuff. And,
hey, Steve, and I know you're talking right now. But when you get a pause, send in a couple of these things.
I'll put them in the. I'll put them in the chat. I already got them pulled up. But when when we talk about these things, we should talk about it about the things that they support. Let's talk about how when he said we beyond kneeling and went to the NFL, like these.
Yeah, I was for that. I was for that.
But it's like every time these people
niggas thought that was bad. I don't be understanding that.
I mean, it is bad. Like these people have made enough money where it don't. They like if I was that rich and it don't matter no more, I'm crashing out. It's nothing. He's a billionaire.
He won a football team, so he not gonna do that.
No, but if we stay there for a quick second,
pocket watch that man and
his statement was that we're past kneeling. It's time for tangible items, right? Like I don't understand. Like where would we disagree with that? Like if we've protested enough, we need to get things that we can actually call as tangible instead of just continuing to protest. I don't see why we would
protest enough.
It's just like
we get the Super Bowl this year too. Look at the Super Bowl.
I don't be understanding like these
but
things.
It's just like if you remember,
it was an outrage for it, but
if you want to come out for something, like what you come out for matters. Like if you want to come out for something, come out for universal health care. Come out for like some shit that actually matters. These people is just doing branding campaigns in order to increase their social capital. That's all it is. And I see somebody.
But it's hard. Like what I've seen of the rent to own thing, I haven't really seen any negative marks on it. And if like he's doing it inside like a way in which people are properly getting the option to eventually own, I don't necessarily see it as the worst thing.
We always know how them things work out. And I just find it strange that would be something a black person, unless and don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not gonna say I will say that these people might not be aware of the history of some of these things that they put their name on. And they just say they see a number and they sign up and they cool with it, but they don't really understand like the role, all this type of stuff that they sign up for have played. He's not a scholar. He's a former crack dealer and a rapper. And somebody mentioned Killer Mike. Killer Mike is just as deceitful. This dude told y'all he was opening up a black-owned bank, and come to find out, it was owned by white folk.
White people, yeah. But no puppet. That's what they said. They said he wasn't a puppet.
Like let's really talk about what they do and not what they say in their music and what they rap about. Because everybody want to play radical in their lyrics. Everybody a radical in their lyrics. Everybody against the system in their lyrics. But when it came time to be against the system, Killer Mike was out here saying he can't speak out about Cop City, and he was out here saying stop tearing down the city. But he wearing t-shirt T-shirt saying "Kill Your Master" on it. Which one is it? Is it "Kill Your
Well, all right,
Master" or "Stop burning down the city"?
Steve, to give fair context,
Atlanta's a black city.
well, that, and then
You think that?
I think that he's also more explicitly said, "Stop tearing down your neighborhoods when you riot." Like that's usually like the point that he's pushing, where a lot of black people will riot in their area and tear down their space, and which then leads to, again, the destruction and then gentrification. And I've heard him make that point, in which it's very nuanced, but I don't think that is wrong.
All I'm saying is, every time these do Cop City, same thing.
Mhm.
They literally turned down a black neighborhood, part of a black neighborhood that publicly owned this space, to build up one of the biggest, cop training facilities in the world against the wishes of the community.
Mhm.
Do he come out for all the months and say anything? No. Like these people is like self-interested and gonna do what they gonna do for the best interest of of their pockets. Like,
And I
that's
guess so Steve, we'll keep you up, but before we start bringing up more people, so do you look at being a capitalist as being a sellout to the black community?
That's an interesting question, because I think a lot of people, when they say they are capitalists, they think just working a job automatically makes you a capitalist. Like capital mean you actually own like the means of production. And so I don't know if I could really say Jay-Z and Killer Mike, are capitalists, but they do have this aspiration and to get this level of wealth or whatever the case may be, which I do think makes them like a sellout, because whenever it comes time to choose between that wealth and the community, they tend to choose between the wealth.
Gotcha. And I guess like this probably just bleeds more into like previous ideologies, in which, like, softly saying like you believe inside more of like a socialist system of things, in which like pushing for a hoarding of like wealth in general would be detrimental for the community in general. If I say that, like, again, very broadly.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna give Kamu a trial number 2. Let's see if he gets it. We do got 2 more backstage. Again, we're gonna drop the call-in link again in a second. Feel free, call in, talk to us, let us know what we got right, got wrong. Y'all see the cash apps up here. Make sure that y'all donate to the panel. Super chats is available. Shout out Fat Boy super chatted. Yeah, Kamu, are you back? Talk. What's going on, brother?
What's up, bro? I hope I'm being audible now.
Yeah.
Yeah, better. Yeah, man. I'm just saying that in terms of climbing the ladder, I think it's highly unlikely that a black person could climb any social ladder without, compromising and kind of selling out. But what really caught my attention is how you guys in this entire episode focused on an artist. Like, we're talking about selling out, and the best possible figure that we could bring up is Jay-Z. And it's like, is that how American hierarchy works? Like, are the artists like the biggest things in America?
I guess
you know what I mean? Yeah.
This is a conversation that was, quote unquote, straight out the group chat, that then we gave legs to be a bigger conversation by adding. But it was more so, the conversation was originally just, was Jay-Z a sellout? And we incorporated like everything else. That's why we kind of didn't really get as far into like the whole sellout thing. If we had time, we would have, but it was a lot of fire around just the Jay-Z conversation. This isn't like to speak to him being like the predominant sellout of the black community or anything like that. or being like head honcho number one sellout. This was kind of like,
But
go ahead.
Yeah. But I kind of think he is though. I think like there isn't. Because as you guys were talking, I was thinking about Obama. I'm like, was Obama in his prime even at Jay-Z's level? And I don't think so. Even now, I don't think so. You know what I mean? It's like,
we can't hear you, G.
In terms of like
what
social,
you mean by that?
In terms
like
of social
Obama
capital and being
like global
exactly.
influence?
In terms of social capital and being influence, being on everyone's lips.
Whoa.
Yeah, influence, and like.
I mean, Obama got y'all leader assassinated in Libya. That's pretty.
You think Jay-Z was more influential than Obama?
No, Trey, I get that, but I'm talking about locally.
What you,
yeah,
Obama
no,
is definitely more influential.
forget
so
about
you
that.
can't-
That doesn't.
What you talk about, man?
I doubt, bro. I doubt, bro. I doubt. Like
think
you
Jay-Z
guys
more
were talking
influential
about
than
Jay
Obama?
Z. Like, I mean, you guys were talking about Jay Z in 2008. You're still talking about him now. Who's talking about Obama now? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, no one is talking about Obama now, and you're still talking
Yeah,
about
but
Jay Z, and it's like.
But I also don't think that a lot of people are talking about Jay-Z. Like we was like at a very random like moment talking about Jay-Z.
No, they definitely are. They definitely are.
So
After
when was
this,
the last time Jay-Z was in the
DDP,
news about anything outside of like 50 Cent saying that he made his hair like a gay painter or some shit like that? Like nobody talks about Jay-Z generally speaking.
No, man. No, you guys talk about Jay-Z all the time, bro. And it's not even like
still? I think a lot of
I
times
think
I
I
heard in
think
the
you
continent
I think
y'all
you're
like, listen. I heard in the continent y'all listen to music that's like 20 years old. So maybe like y'all are listening. Cause I heard like y'all listen to 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying like on loop down there. We're not really listening to that no more. We listen to like your Shiesty stuff like that. So maybe that's where the confusion's coming from.
No, you're totally, bro. Like you definitely trolling. You definitely
Hey,
look.
Kamo, real quick. Kamo, this is the way we could check the post, and then I got to bring up the other guys. But right now, through your South African perspective, who is the hottest rapper in America?
Burna Boy. You gonna say?
No, come on.
I mean, I think. Look. I think Travis Scott is coming to South Africa around October. I think it is.
So is that your answer?
But like, I think Travis is, but American rap, bro, like to us is no longer a thing like it used to be around year 2008 and stuff like that. We have a whole new movement now. We don't give much attention to it, but I think Travis is now.
What's your new movement?
And Kendrick. I mean, we have
Oh, yeah.
I'm a piano, bro. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah. Y'all got Tyler.
That's some,
Is Tyler a puppet?
I mean,
I don't think she even black. She colored.
But
nonetheless, let's bring up.
She is black. She is.
Let's bring up our next guy. Shout out to another one of the favorites. TBI, talk to us, brother.
What's good, brothers? Y'all can hear me?
What's good? Yeah, we can hear you.
What's good? No, I think this is a good topic, man. I think Jay-Z, he didn't put out, like, I like the 444 album, man, but I think he is a sellout, though. I think he's mostly about his, he's like self-interested, like whatever is going to be best for him, that's what he's going to do. I mean, it seems like that's what has been his motto or his motive his whole career, even with Dame and how that broke up and how he kind of partnered.
But you don't think that he's been for the black community, generally speaking?
I don't know. I really can't see how. I think Jay-Z is a good. And
I can name a few of them. I guess I'd be more So I'll name a few, and then I'd love to hear like some of like your pushbacks to where like what he didn't do. I know Steve, you still got, maybe you sent it in the private chat, but send in the private chat some of the rebuttals to these. But again, bailing out black fathers on on Father's Day, I think that's fire. I think whether you talk about Baltimore or like a bunch of different protests, bailing out these protesters, black protesters. You want to talk about like the Sean Bell kids fun. You got the I think it's like Sean Carter Foundation that gives out scholarships. Maybe it's like $300 million in scholarships given out, something like that. Him putting his money up for criminal justice reform. You can go to like even like fair artist practices, the title, whole little thing when it comes down to profit sharing, equity, and being the highest streaming when it came down to residuals. You said 444. That's pretty much a black financial literacy album. What are the things that he's did that's been like counterproductive to those things?
I feel like those things, I think those are some good things. I mean, I think Jay-Z is like the safe, he kind of like a safe Negro almost. He kind of positioned himself as that, where he's like the company man. Even when he broke up with Dame, he kind of like, hey man, you trying to build something, I guess, too radical. I want to kind of get in with the system because I feel like I can make more money that way. So he's kind of positioned himself, even with the Colin Kaepernick thing. Like when everybody's kind of standing up for Colin, it seems like, hey, let's bring a safe Negro in to kind of calm the blacks down, because people kind of live off Jay-Z, old street cred, and kind of think he's a man of the people. So let's bring him in. And he got a lot of backlash for that, but I think he didn't care. He's like, hey man, I can make a big bag off setting up these halftime shows, and then I kind of build a partnership with the NFL instead of standing on what the black community was standing on at that point and just like stayed away from it. He's like, hey, this is an opportunity. I think he's very opportunistic with certain situations. So you kind of see that.
We might have to do like a full unpack of, in hindsight, the Colin Kaepernick shit. I think that seemed to be something that's came up a couple of different times. Maybe we'll talk about it in the after show as well. But I think that's such an interesting, nuanced conversation to have. But TBI, stay on. I got to bring up our brother Quincy. You back? What's going on, man?
Yeah, what's up, man? Y'all can hear me? Yeah, what's up? So just a couple things come to mind. With the Kaepernick and the kneeling and Jay saying stop kneeling. For me, the biggest problem is he's just an entertainer. Like he's not like Dr. King. Like if Dr. King said, hey, it's time to stop kneeling, then we know some real legislation coming behind that. Some real change coming behind that. When Jay said it, I mean, ain't shit changed, man. I mean, he got Rihanna and a couple rappers on the Super Bowl, but ain't nothing changed. So him not being a real politician or activist and telling us to stop kneeling, like that's really the biggest problem, like on my end, from my perspective. Other thing too, when you speak about, you kind of ran down all the stuff that Jay does, all this, but you know, think about all of the stuff, all of the institutions that Jewish people have based off the money they made from hip hop. They got their own police. They got their own hospitals. I mean, they got all kind of stuff that black people don't have, especially if you go up to New York and look at.
That's based off of what they made off hip hop, though.
Oh, they made a lot of money off hip hop.
Oh no, I do agree that they made a lot. I don't think that they built these institutions off of that. I think Jewish people have been wealthy.
It is true. You know what? I guess I think I'm speaking specifically up in New York, up in the New York area. I think I'm speaking specifically of that. They made a whole lot of money, and they built certain institutions that Black Americans don't have and can't build. Now, yeah, we can give out scholarships. We can, do feed a kid. We could, buy a house, build a house here and there. But as far as like real institutions, I do think that Black Americans are handcuffed. Maybe unbeknownst to us, maybe, kind of silently. I'm not really sure. But I mentioned beforehand, I do think that when Black Americans hit a certain threshold, maybe it's the million, maybe it's like 500 million. I'm not sure what the number is, but I do think they get a knock on the door or they get a phone call. and they say, look, you're gonna do bust so much for these Negroes. Make sure you pipe it down a little bit, because we've had enough millionaires and at this point billionaires that could have made real significant change and could have even funded significant change. Say if it's not even on them. Say if they just want to fund those out there, that the activists out there that really want to put in work. We've had more than enough to go out there and do it. And the only way, for me, I have to. It's either or for me. Either they've had the money and their hands are tied and they can't contribute to this stuff, to the betterment of black people, or they don't want to. It got to be one of the two.
But,
Somebody got to tie their hands, or they just don't want to do it.
Let me ask you this: because it sounds like a couple of things that you're talking about is like infrastructure and building proper infrastructure and institutions. The question would be, how much do you think that like building this infrastructure costs, and or these institutions cost? Has Jay-Z had enough money to build said institutions to be a stable product, not just like build a thing, but build it and not just use all his money towards building something and then it be at the whim.
True.
And if if not, should black people go broke? Or like whoever are people that are like the wealthiest, go broke for the cause?
I think well, as far as Jay goes,
okay,
that's why I mentioned being black billionaires in general, not just Jay, because I wouldn't just put it on him. I mentioned that we've had more than enough millionaires and billionaires, especially millionaires. We've had more than enough of those since the 90s that can put in work. Now, should they go broke? Nah, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. But at the you got to grasp what a billion is. Like a billion is a million.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not counting nobody pockets, man. But I mean,
1,000 million. Oh no, yeah, you're right. A billion is what? No, it's
no, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. It's 1,000 million. My bad. I'm sorry about that. It's 1,000 million. But for me, I'm like, well, not counting people pockets, man. But if you got 500 million, I mean, how much did life go change from being from 500 million to 800 million or to a billion? Like, how much is your life really gonna change?
But you also got to think about this: how much of that is liquid? Most of this is just like equity in like investments that aren't like actualized. These aren't like.
Now, question.
Okay.
So I ask you, because you say how you. I guess you asked me how much. If you're a billionaire, or we'll just say just whoever the average basketball player, we see like 200-300 million. They getting stacks on deck, and even football players, right? Now, like I said, we know the tax man.
They still working slave contracts.
Yeah. I'm with you. So we'll say basketball players, and then you got your folks out there. Your regular
baseball.
Oh, see, they done X'd out Black Americans in baseball, so that's that. But as far as like the average, not average, I'm just saying it's been more than enough money out there to, if they wanted to build. I'm not saying they gotta go broke. I ain't saying they should go broke. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you can do something, like, and something more than your cliche. Oh, build a water well in Africa. Oh, do some scholarships here. Oh, do a basketball camp. Stuff along those lines. Because we do have real, and especially if they come together and put their money together. What I mean, come on. We all know they come together to make money together. So if they could come together and actually do something for black people together, like you get all them ball players and the entertainers and the doctors and the big baller lawyers and all of those, and just put your money together. Dude, we saw it. You saw how quick them D9 folks and the Boulay folks got together to get the money for Kamala overnight. They got millions together for her. So to me, I'm like, if y'all could do that for a damn presidential candidate for an Indian woman, then you can't scrap up a couple million every like once a year. You know what I mean? Just to put it towards some kind of infrastructure or something, kind of school structure or a hospital or something.
Like, I don't disagree with any of the I don't disagree with the points that you're making, that there's like a lack of organization when it comes down to black people with a certain amount of wealth, when it comes down to being able to fund properly and build infrastructure. But I also would, like I said, I would have to look at, because of when we talk about building infrastructure, when you look at the American budget for building infrastructure, that's inside.
Yeah, I know it's crazy.
It's
yeah,
inside.
I know it's crazy.
And so what we're talking about is like millionaires coming together, and maybe if we decide a town and a city, we could put in a couple billion and like really invest in that area. But then we have to extrapolate across America, and like we don't have those like specific funds yet. Like that would just be all us black people. Like right now we don't have like the like 50 trillion to invest inside small black businesses that like each candidate is going to like put on side their plan to get a couple black people to vote. But that's also like the number that gets close to the idea of, and don't quote me on like literally 50 trillion, but like when we start going into the idea of how much it actually costs to build infrastructure and what these people would actually be able to invest without sacrificing their life. And if you're saying, because like the other end of it would be, do you think that they should sacrifice their wealth for the betterment of black people? And then that becomes its own different version of a conversation. I think that's more of like
yeah, because even when you invest in, you only invest but so much. You always want to keep like a good percentage like cash liquidity. If depending if you're buying stocks, I usually keep like around 30-40% like cash, just cash, right? So to that, I'm like, what? Oh hell no! This is like a, yeah, this is like in the like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, those kind of accounts.
You're just saying that it's reachable. I got you.
Yeah, it's reachable. Wire, couple hours, you good. So that's why I'm like, I'm not saying put the whole house up. I'm just like, hey man, if you got billions, all right, look, if you got 500 million, I mean, you could put up 50 million, you could put up 100. I mean, like I'm not even saying put it up, just cut a check and give it to somebody. I'm saying you could seed it to whoever, to some kind of institution or in this I forgot the word, but you could seed it to somebody. You could partner up with people. I'm not sure if I'm okay with this idea, but hey, if you got that kind of money, then you connect it to some white folks with some money too. So you can even get them to invest too. I'm not sure how much I'm okay with that. I don't know, but Okay. If we want to keep it black, we keep it black. You know what I'm saying?
But all right. Okay. So Quincy, we got one last caller that called in. I'll keep you up, but I'm gonna pull him up.
Yeah. Cool.
It says Young Judo.
Yup. What's good, people?
Not much. Talk to
him. So what I want to say, why do Jay-Z have to do anything for anybody? Like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like being broke is so depressing. Y'all sound very depressing. Like, we got white folks that got 300 billion, 200. Like, if you look at the billion list, it's crazy. A black man who just hit the surface with 2.5, y'all want him to feed Africa, feed the world. Like, he's only one man, and he's a hustler. He's a crack dealer. He started off as a crack dealer, so he already have a hustling mindset. He don't have that Dr. Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. Yes, and he plays with words where he talk real witty, and he'll make you believe something. But we all know Jay-Z's about that money, man. He's out for president to represent him, and he been like that since 96, moving in 2025. He's sort of like the same person. He just moved more strategic than ever now. And he's more quiet than ever. And then why would he want to help when most of his people call him a sellout? He's this, he's that. You got other rappers who don't even do nothing that he even do that's minor for the people. I mean,
commandeer for the people. My bad. I'm listening.
Yeah, so I mean, that's all I really want to really say. I'm not going to stretch it out like that. I just feel like y'all put Jay-Z like he supposed to change the world. Like, this is just one Negro who hit the threshold, who hit $1 billion. It's like people who talk the talk like Nas. I expect people like that to really move and shift for the culture or for the people. But y'all don't even put him on a pedestal because he haven't done nothing for the people but rap. What have Nas done for the people? Please give me a sheet like how homie gave me that sheet of the lineup what Jay-Z done for the people. What have Nas done for the people? He talk all this African thing, and if I rule the world, imagine that what he would do. What have he done? Like seriously, like what have he done? You get what I'm saying? So I feel like y'all come down on Jay-Z a little bit too hard. Y'all should respect a hustler who made it, man. You get what I'm saying? He spoke his rap. He lived his truth in his rap. And that's that, man. It's like anything else he do, that's just a little extra. He don't have to do none of that. You get what I'm saying? Because when you come in this world, you come in this world as self. Ain't nobody signed the nigga. He had to make, he had to make his own record label, him, Dame Dash, to be somebody. You get what I'm saying? He was getting overlooked his whole life. So you think he's going to just peel people off like that? Nah, man, it don't work like that, Brody. And even the people that did help, black people crucify them. Malcolm X got shot by a black guy. Regardless of, the FBI sent them this and that, it was still black. The Black Panther, when they separated, it was black. It was black on black. I forgot what's the dude, the two leaders, they crashing. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. So please with all that, man. It's like,
hey, Young Judo.
Need someone for real. Yeah.
Real quick, where you calling from?
New York.
Sound like it. I got you. All right. So Young Judo, we appreciate the call in. I'm gonna end the show really quickly. If you want to stick around, we always do the after hours, the after show. So feel free to stick around. We'll continue the conversation. But this has been a fire conversation. This has been unpacked. Again, we didn't really get to dive too deep into others, quote unquote, sellouts and or puppets, and what we really perceive as that. But we did do a good unpack of Jay-Z and our feelings of him and his philanthropy and or sellout work, just depending on who you ask on the panel. Shout out to G-ish Podcast. We're streaming over there. You see it, G. The King is the Cash App. Trey, aka David Walker, Cash App, Cashish Trey. Johnny, a third of the To Be Fair show, host of the To Be Fair show. You see it, Cash App, J-Rock 989. Some of our favorites. We missed him at Dreamville. I heard he was on a scooter because he popped his Achilles getting crossed over by, I don't know who over in San Diego. But shout out to the guy, Steve. TBI, another favorite. Quincy, another favorite. Kamu. Shout out to the Polaroid camera that he is streaming.
The filter today, boy.
Filter, analog, I think they was calling them. And Young Judo, straight from New York. We appreciate y'all. Again, we'll love for y'all on each page. Again, we're streaming on 2 different platforms. Put in a comment after the show ends. Put a like after the show ends. Let us know what was your favorite or most. Matter of fact, answer this question: is Jay-Z a sellout? Why or why not? Just talk to us.
Hell no, he ain't no sellout, man.
But with that said, we are done. This has been Unpacked, presented to you by the To Be Fair Show and the G-ish Podcast. We out.